Go. Right, here we go. Right. We'll just leave it, let it build up the numbers. So the numbers I just see who's Alan usually comes in straight away, get all this.
Oh, lovely Alan.
You know, so
A little big Al. Big Al.
Right, six viewers in here. John, hi John. Yeah, look, what did I say? Big bad Alan Merritt, yeah. He's he's gang stalking us. Alan, we'll just,
Big Al.
we'll just get right. We'll just give it. Look, we're on 107. We'll go up to 200, and we'll give a little rundown of the day, and then
I'm gonna sing like a canary, baby.
Oh, Brian, Alan, look, I've got the thing. Look.
Oh yeah, he's got your t-shirts on.
Yeah.
Save our children from paedophiles.
Yeah. And the badges, someone's ordered 50 already. Badges, so
Wow.
Jean's there.
Oh, hi Jean. Oh, hello, little
Jane
Jean.
and
Sandy.
Oh,
Sue.
yeah.
Hi.
So yeah, where's Sue? Hope Sue's not abandoned us.
Oh.
Dougie Dunk. Oh, give you a wave there, Dougie Dunk. I like it.
Hello guys. Hi guys.
All right, we're on 203. Right, here we are. I don't think we need any introductions where I'm concerned, but we'll move through. We got. I'll put on here two of the North's biggest activists, anti-child abuse activists. We got Tinky Jojo and we got Ange.
Hi.
And we're in Southport. Bit late on parade today. I've been doing a podcast with a guy called Billy. Billy's story is awful and typical of what we're seeing: the care system, the abuse, the failure of the support services to help, and then alcoholism, heroin addiction, suicide, anger, prison, the total pattern recycling.
Yeah.
And poor Billy now is called out, wants to give his testimony out. Very hard for him to do because it involved his mum. And again, this is what we're seeing all the time. We're seeing the changing face of what people perceive as a paedophile. It isn't the man who lives, the white man, middle bin-lays, milk bottom glasses, living with his mum.
Yeah.
It's not. It's all sorts. It's all colours. A lot of women involved.
Yeah.
And you see what it did to this poor guy's mental health. And he's now living in a car park in a rough part of Liverpool. And that's how he's surviving. And, this really has to stop. But things are moving forward for us, aren't they,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we've got Wake Up TV.
Wake Up UK, guys.
Wake Up UK, yeah. Which goes out. Alan Merritt's got his own show, hasn't he?
Alan Merritt's doing brilliant. He's survivor from care home abuse. Is it Beach Home? Beach Home, not Beachwood.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. Which he's got a show on a Monday night tonight, guys, and he's had Jeanette, who John's recently interviewed.
Oh, Jeanette Archer.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Tonight. I think amazing. The bit that we did see.
Right.
But it's so sad, but that was because we were waiting for everyone, and it's not that we missed you, Al. We'll catch up with it all.
We're going to catch up. You're on our catch-up list because we've been busy, Al.
And what we're seeing is we go out, we do the podcasts, interview people, and then people are then splintering off on their own, like, franchise. Look, Jeanette is doing incredibly well.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Speaking out.
Sam Baldwin is getting traction.
Yeah.
Vicky has so many people. And Alan, we're Alan and the Beach Home gang, and we're all moving out, and this is what's happening. Everyone. And it was and Vanessa has supported everyone.
Oh, Vanessa, she was amazing.
Hi, guys.
Vanessa supported me in Parliament, stood by me, and
is that the one that testimonied the other day? The black woman, can I say that?
Oh, that's Jenny.
Oh, I thought that was it, Jenny. Oh, she was lovely.
Oh, and again, Jenny was never speaking out. Jenny was just in such a bad way. And Jenny is not only has she spoken out, she's now offering support. She's helping out. Her and Nikki are doing a lot. And again, we got Nikki, who's the former street worker and crack addict.
Watch that interview as well. Amazing.
She's now got her own show now. She's using now my platform, but she's doing her own research. She's phenomenal. And with Nikki, does a video, she gets 10,000 hits straight away.
Wow.
She's got the X factor when it comes to it. Just,
wow.
You know, and she's total no nonsense. You know, she is.
Yeah.
You know, she's on there. And, you know, and between us all, we're sort of covering so much ground, aren't we?
Yeah, there's so much going on, though, isn't there, out there that, you know, like you were just saying, John, where, you know, back, you know, when I was a child, not a child, I suppose a late teen, you know, I presumed that a paedophile was a lone person, you know, not that it could be bred into families, and that, you know, fathers did it to daughters, and women are doing it to people, and, you know, there's this whole chain. And then when you start looking into this chain, you start to see that it's riddled in every area of our society, in every single town. And then when you start digging a bit further, you start to realise that the children have never actually been protected. And it wasn't, you know, it was only until the 80s, 70s that protection laws came in. But then even now, the protection laws aren't protecting the children. And Ray Wyatt, who was a psychologist for satanic abusers, did start a prison in Birmingham in the 70s, but it was only lasted for about 8 years. They shut it down on him because what he was saying was that the way that our system is dealing with paedophiles, but because they've never dealt with the problem before, the way that they're dealing with them anyway, they're just going to come back and re-offend and abuse. And also that the victims aren't coming forward because the system isn't designed for the victims to step forward. It's another way. It's like a taboo.
Well, who was talking to me the other day? It was a woman who does a lot of help for legal help for people to sue the police and to sue the social services.
Can you pass that on to me?
Oh yeah, honestly, her name's Anne Marie. She's offered her services. She's a lovely woman, and she said, and she's been in it for years. She said what they do is they don't go after the abuser; they go after the one who alerts them. So if it's like the mother who alerts them to the husband abusing, they go after the mother for failing to protect.
That's exactly what I've done in my case.
You know,
and this is what they are doing. And, you know, sorry to interrupt there, but where I thought that the system, because if I just quick explain that, you know, I was the type of person, I've always been a good citizen, I've worked in the community, you know, brought up my family, you know, I was being abused, but I thought the system was running along smoothly and was protecting people. It wasn't until I actually went to access it that you realise that nothing works, there is no remedy, nothing works for the people, no one is protecting the children, you know. And then when I started to look back at my whole situation, because when I left my ex-partner, I still don't think I'd actually believe that I'd been abused myself. It still took me a couple of years to realise the level of abuse that I'd actually, you know, endured at that point. So, you know, that's quite heartbreaking and then when I look back that when I was 15 and I was starting to be groomed by my ex-partner, you know, he got me pregnant at 15. So this is all in my medical history. So at the point where I was had a pregnancy test, the doctor should have then raised concerns to the police, but nobody did. And then when I lost the baby 12 weeks later, they should have put services in place to find out what had gone on, who the father was, how I got into this situation, put some kind of mental health there just to talk about the trauma that I'd just experienced. Because if I was honest, I felt like I've never been satanically ritually abused, but I could imagine that all what was going on that day on that table, that, you know, that's what it would have felt like, because it was horrific. And, you know, when you're a young kid, you don't want anybody looking at you. I didn't even understand sex, even though I had sex. I didn't understand sex. This is back in 1994. I didn't understand it at all. Well, I didn't. And, you know, it wasn't for like...
We were sheltered, weren't we?
Yeah. And I don't even think I had sex education at school, to be honest with you, or I missed it. I can remember being told that the willy just went in there and that was it, and that's all what I knew about it. And that was quite, you know, I was a young kid, I didn't really want to know about it, because, you know, I was quite upset that, you know, where you wee and you poo, well, that's how, you know, I was thinking, oh, it's horrible. Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
you know, I'm just trying to explain it in a easy terms sort of thing, you know, that even at 15...
Well, there's failings all through, aren't there, from start to finish. And and these alarm bells would have rang throughout when the kids at school, you know. And I've just been working in a school, and I said to him, I said, there's one kid coming in, his head is down. I said, I can feel that ton weight on his shoulders. What's going on in his house? He went, well, sometimes it's best not to ask. You know, and you could feel it on this kid.
I felt it when I was in Parliament. There's a thing attached to the side of it, and the choir boys going to Westminster Abbey. Now this little kid put his head down, and I just knew instantly. And I said, "Swear, that kid there, something's happening to him." Yeah. Just the way he looked at me and putting his head down, and everything, the whole reaction, his eyes, told everything.
I mean, who was it?
That's in Westminster Abbey, next door to Parliament. Yeah, and what's happening to these children?
But you look at, then you've got kids like Darren was going to school because his parents were kicking the crap out of him, and then the only thing that took his release away was art, and he loved art. Yeah. But his art teacher started anally raping him. You know, and then when he spoke out, they put him in the secure unit. You know, a naughty boys' school. Yeah. The magistrate sentenced him to this term in there, and when he was in there, one of the abusers was a magistrate who sent him in. I mean, you couldn't make it. You couldn't even write a horror movie with this script. No, you couldn't.
What? The people that you have interviewed, I have cried my eyes out on every single interview that I have watched, because I cannot even still. I know it's happening, and I know. But how are these? You know, these are babies. These are children. Do you know what I mean? This is just completely. Just crazy. Shocking. What's going on, and it's real, and it's happening, and they're killing kids and raping them and torturing them, and you know, behind the scenes where we just think.
But what is good is that we put these things out there, and there are pitfalls, because we do have some people that have got quite deep embedded problems, and they end up attacking you when you help them. We get that, we allow for that. It's rare, but it does happen. But on the whole, 99.9% reoccurring of everyone that we end up dealing with, we work together. Yeah. And I was saying to Big Bad Alan Merritt the other day, I said, everyone that started this, we're all still mates. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it's like. Do you know, when you sort the bullshit out, and you sort that, you know, this person's done this and this person's done that, and money comes involved and everything comes involved, it's not about that. You know, people have to drop like, it's for the children, you know. It's not about he's fell out with him and this person owes this person money, and, you know, it's about the children.
We've had, and I've got to say this, one of the loveliest women on the planet, a lady called Alison, has donated a van. This van was her business. Wow. It's a lovely van, and we can now do so much work with this van, and it'll even allow us to tour around the country. A bit like the Scooby-Doo van.
The children's van to save the children.
Yes, save the children. Wow. Let's drive it around Parliament like Andrew's
because
bus.
That is a massive point, isn't it, John? This what we're doing is to hopefully come to anybody out there that has been abused, you know, you know, even if it's later on in life that you've been raped, or, you know, we need people to speak out to say that these things are happening.
Well, look what happened today. We were on the beach down in Crosby, just outside of Bootle, and we did the interview, and you got Billy. He was very raw. He was very hurt, and he was in tears. And then you rang. We put you in touch, you know, and I said, Billy, you're not alone, man. You're not alone. There's so many people that have been through the same.
I'm going to go and pay you a little visit, Billy. I'll come over and see you in your car.
Billy,
pick me up.
We'll message you.
Put some curtains up in his car.
But, you know, how bad is this system that, you know, he has gone through all that and he is in his car, you know?
I mean, no offence, we have got refugees coming in off the boat, the dinghy boat, getting a hotel with a swimming pool, with universal credit. They've got leisure passes, this, that, a bar, a swimming pool. And we've got a child abuse victim sleeping in a car.
And then they can afford £400 per hour for a barrister to represent, but they can't afford the money for therapy for anyone, you know. It's just a nonsense, and this has to stop.
These solicitors are shocking. Do you know what my last legal aid bill was? £9,000.
Yeah, I got one for 40,000.
Do you know how long it went on? A year. Wow. It went on a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's just incredible.
It's taxpayers' money that they're paying.
Not only that, when you get a breakdown for these bills, that they will even charge for a fax, and when there were faxes, they were charging £50 for a fax, and they were charging £10 to answer phone calls. Can you imagine if you had a business, I don't know, maybe making curtains, and you went round to someone's house to say, I'll measure it up, and you went round there, do an estimate, and then you sent them a bill for £50 an hour, plus then for the phone call that they called you on, £20, plus the printout of how, and then you give them a bill for £1,000, they call the police on you.
There's no exactly, and it was like, I mean, the other day, John, I woke up to Boris Johnson saying that we're going to get fined £100, if we don't wear a mask. Well, I rung the police up about the 5G, and there's 2 girls missing in Southport, 2 little girls as well, ages 11 and 9, who've been missing since the 31st of March. Well, where's the bells ringing for these kids?
Nobody even knows in the police.
And then in the newspaper report, it just says that they were at a family home with a family member, which is fine, and I'm not just thinking that, but how are we meant to help them look when we don't even know who they're with, or what? Do you know what I mean?
Well, if we look at what happened with Jeanette, Jeanette's story is groundbreaking in so many ways. Jeanette was saying runaway kids were brought in and they were killed. Runaway kids.
Wow.
Then we've got Nikki, the former girl from the street, in Soho, the big red light area, and she said there was a police inspector was offering us girls £500 a time, late 80s, early 90s, to provide this guy. She said, bear in mind, this guy was smoking crack with us, a police inspector, and having sex with us, £500 a time for a runaway. Right? We've got Audrey Harper, who's the author and former Satanist, who said that she would procure children off the street for satanic parties. And then we've got the head of the Vice Unit, who was ultimately was the boss, not when I was there, just before I was there, head of the Vice Unit, a chief superintendent, who is named on the RAINS list, the satanic list, that has yet to be discredited.
Yet no one will do anything about the problem
He's named on there as an active Satanist that's attended satanic rituals by more than 2 people. When we've got all this evidence, and then people do F all.
RT News reported 38 cases of satanic ritual abuse go through our social services a week. That's on my YouTube channel.
Oh, that was months ago.
Months ago, 38 cases a week. That's what RT News reported.
So why,
I was in the Wirral Globe and the Liverpool Echo.
But why was RT doing it? Why not BBC doing it and Sky News and?
I think it was. I think it was everywhere.
I know I'm just jumping here. It's just the thing of newspapers.
It comes out backwards. You have to read it.
Calls to open the cancer hospitals. So not only with the abusing our children, so children with cancer, are not getting treated or anybody.
Yeah. And we're allowing them to do it. And then the only time we're getting angry is because someone's not wearing a mask.
Yeah, exactly. That's
someone's
the point.
Not call the police,
£100 fine, but kids are dying and they're getting raped and abused and nobody seems to care.
I think we've got a few Rottweilers, haven't we? Guarding paedophiles, because that's what the police are right now. They're Rottweilers. They're guard dogs to the paedophiles, because the ones hiding behind the doors are the paedophiles, and the ones that are guarding the door are the guard dogs. That's the way we might as well look at it now.
Why is half the royal family and other higher
and
up
then
people
we're matching the guard dogs
in photographs
we're
with Jimmy
coming
Savile?
for you.
With Jimmy Savile.
Of course, I mean we can't mention this name because it'll cause a few issues, but there's one royal who is mentioned to us time and time again. And again, it's no flex, and his protection officer has mentioned via a third party that he's gay. Okay, that's neither here nor there. But then was married.
It is when there's child abuse involved, isn't there? Come on.
Well, the other thing is he was the one he's a sadistic paedophile.
Exactly.
Sadistic paedophile. Now you can't tell me that his protection officers don't know that he goes missing for these hunting parties in woods. Yeah. For days on end. And then we've got what was happening with Prince Andrew. Then we've got another. Again, we might mention the same person.
What happened to Mountbatten? I mean, that was Charles's mentor, wasn't it? You can research.
But again, look at Charles. He openly denigrated victims of Bishop Peter Ball.
Oh, he was didn't he?
For 14 years.
Him and Camilla actually, I think, in the documentary said that they bought him a house.
Yeah, for 14 years.
Yeah, they bought him and were writing letters saying, "Oh, they're we don't believe, blah."
Yeah, and attacking the victims. I mean, me myself and I, turned up at Westminster Cathedral to have it out with Vincent Nichols, the head of the Catholic Church. He deputised it to a bishop, who turned round and blamed the children and not Ted Heath.
Well, I don't know if you remember putting it up.
How can you blame children?
Yeah.
And then it is, they use certain words, don't they? Like, I had a little clip of something the other day, like they soften words up for basically rape of a child. Instead of saying rape of a child, they call it different names. Why are they trying to soften things round when
like touching?
Yeah,
sexual touching.
What was it? That one? Oh
no, it's raping a child.
There was a woman, and she was a former prostitute, and she now talks out about the dangers of prostitution and everything else.
Yeah.
And there was an MP. She was given a talk with him, and he was a convicted paedophile.
Yeah.
And she said, "You shouldn't be here. You're a paedophile." And he said, "No, I'm not. I'm a child-loving or something like that.
Oh,
a minor-attracted person."
Oh, a map.
Minor-attracted.
Yeah, maps.
Wow.
Minor-attracted person.
And then she said they had to stop the meeting so this bloke could have a comfort break because he got outed as a pedo. So this man is, I don't know, raping, sodomising young children. And he needed a comfort break, and she got removed.
They're pushing the civil liberties as well with the gays and stuff, and the gays are now turned around to it and said, "Get out my group." Yeah. And because they're going down, they're taking everybody with them.
Well, this is what will happen, and it will happen.
Guess who Tom O'Carroll, the paedophile, has threw under the bus? Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. Threw him under the bus. And KFC.
Right, yeah.
That portrait of the Queen who was a paedophile. Do you remember?
Fog of the Tango, Rolf Harris.
Rolf
Harris with the shaky butt. If you didn't know, do you know on your YouTube channel? The ex has already admitted to knowing about the royals in the international inquiry to child sexual abuse.
There you go.
So that was 2 years ago. I shared the video yesterday. That was 2 years ago, and I had one person comment on my wall, "Oh, you need to check these dates out." Yeah, exactly. You need to start looking, love, because this date was 2 years ago, and what we're getting Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell and all this lot going now. This was 2 years ago when our British government admitted that there's royals involved. Now, they haven't mentioned names, so I don't know who it is, but
we
I
know
can
who
only
they
presume exactly. We know who they are.
We know exactly who they are. And not only that, you had the Metropolitan Police's special branch. When they did the audit trail, who was funding Pye? It was the government, the Home Office.
Yeah.
But then they refined it even more. It was special branch that were funding Pye. You got Harriet Harman, Margaret Hodge and Patricia Hewitt. All three.
Jack Dramey.
Yeah, all three are right honourables. What is right and honourable about them witches?
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, the paedophile protecting them.
They're not right and they're not honourable. The left.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And the bottomless have been named. We can name them many. And of course, it's those that speak out. And who got the award given to him the other day? Harvey Procter. Now the man has a conviction of a sexual offence.
Do you know what? That's where Nick comes from, isn't it? The one that's in jail right now. That's been put away for lying. He weren't lying at all. He was telling the truth. The interviews are out there. They're out there on YouTube. And Harvey Procter's cried a river and got loads of compensation.
And then we've seen the same thing with
Lord Steele.
Lord Steele backed him up. What was it?
I don't know.
Someone backed him up anyway.
The two Hampstead children, and again, their fathers then are Victoria Derbyshire. Well, we know who you are now, Victoria Derbyshire, because we said to you, "Can you cover our walk?" She wouldn't even answer it.
Oh, Victoria Derbyshire, she makes out she's doing. That's what these people. That's what these people have been doing for a long time. They've been putting stuff out in our faces, and we've been looking at it thinking it means one way, and it doesn't. It means a complete. It's
when
a
you start
paedophile
looking at
agenda.
the loops, like
the
when
BBC.
they legalised having, so men could have sex with each other. That was around the time when I think all the MPs were having sex with children, because when you start looking into the international inquiry into child sex abuse, and there's absolutely it looks like thousands of videos out there which hardly any of the public know about.
No one knows.
And when you start watching them all, you start seeing the loops and the chains and how everything is fitted together and how things were made to help assist them, not actually assist the people, if that makes sense.
Well, it never was. The laws were always made to protect the trader and the merchant. They were never there. And of course, when you get the high up traders and merchants, child abuse is heavily used in all of this. It's coercive. It's always been used. But then, when we start taking it to another level, there was always this jigsaw of pieces missing until I started talking to victims of satanic abuse, and then bingo,
That's
it
what I've
all
said.
made sense.
Yeah.
The whole thing made
That's
sense.
what I've said.
The horror
like,
movies
Yeah,
at certain
everything.
times.
Oh
you
yeah,
know, in the 80s,
in the 70s, a Hammer House of
70s,
Horror,
yep, all
and all
these
that,
things
and
start kicking
and
in.
you saw all the children's programs like
Yeah.
Magpie.
Yes.
Now Magpie, if you look at
yes.
it starts
Pie,
off.
paedophile information exchange.
Yeah, but
Tom
Magpie was Pie's magazine,
Yeah.
the magazine for Pie.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the song, it goes 1 for a girl, 2 for a boy, blah blah blah, and then it goes 5 for this and 6 for a secret never told, and then it goes and the audiences were always made up of children from children's homes.
Wow.
You know, and it's just
It just
and
gets
you look at
worse
all
and
of them. They
worse.
were even like who's that? Terry Nutkins that did Animal Magic. He got done for it. Savile Gary, the whole lot. Boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom. And you know, it's not good enough. People like Esther Ransom saying, "Oh, you know, we know about this now." No bullshit. You all knew about it.
They all know
Everyone
about
knows
it.
about it. We've been outside
You know,
your doors
how-
with fog
how
with
did
fog
Theresa
horns,
May get away
with
with
megaphones,
selling?
with our voices,
But-
calling everyone
and-
pedos.
And have you
Yeah,
ever
they know.
have you ever worked in an office or for a company or something like that? Right.
Yeah.
Right. If someone's having an affair, everyone knows about it.
Yeah, gossip.
Everyone. The gossip, boom, rumour control, boom, 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 boom. And so how can they be shagging kids and all that and no one knows? Come on.
Exactly.
Because,
But
you know...
they do know, and they've been hiding it, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And then when you start looking into the law and the protection of children, you know, don't forget they were having children working in workhouses. They set up care homes for children to till the land, you know, saying that, you know, we were going to look after them, but they had them working,
Well,
and
their
then they were being
fingers would
sexually
pick up the
abused.
flints and everything else.
You know,
and, yeah.
you check out Homeland, you look into Ireland, where the children were sent at certain points of the World Wars. You know, they were all going to be
well,
abused.
you looked at the Bindon boys. They were taking the kids out to Australia.
Yeah.
And it was
Homelands.
these brothers. Loads of saying it's windy. No, it's coming back as saying our video was windy, Billy. Don't worry about it. We'll do another one. We'll do a non-windy video, Billy.
His video.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it sounded great when
Yeah,
I
it
listened
did.
to it. I sounded perfect.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, I mean, when you look at them kids, 8-year-old kids were used in extreme manual labour in the hot outback, and then they were buggered, and then they died. Some of them.
Exactly.
Who's going to find their bodies? No one.
Exactly.
But bodies are found. Bodies have been found in the Quarriers kids' homes. They've been found all over the place.
Exactly.
And there's those 800 babies in Ireland.
Tsunami, is it?
Yeah.
You've also got one in Scotland as well, as at Aberdeen.
Quarriers was Alan's mate Sandy, and
Yeah,
you know,
Warriors, Warriors.
There was also a baby ashes scandal in Aberdeen where they were allowed to bury babies under the age of 18 months with no parental records.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And how many
Google
babies?
it.
And the Sisters of Nazareth
Oh,
House.
there was a big investigation going into all the, do you know, the graveyards where they used to bury the thing. They went in and done an investigation and they found that they were burying babies under 18 months. So we're talking satanic abuse and we're talking babies going, right, that's where they're going.
But there's a little dog here,
But obviously
right?
they're going somewhere else as well.
Now, if this little dog gets caught outside, it will cry. And it will hurt you to
They
hear
are
it cry.
crying, they're crying underground, they're screaming for someone to come and help them, praying to God.
But even like a little dog screaming, want to get in that yelp, and you think, oh, for God's sake, let that dog in, it's driving me nuts. Can you imagine the noise of a kid being tortured is?
Do you know what, John?
You
That's one thing I can't do. Like, I have to make the kids happy because I don't want to hear them cry because
Is it the Cook report?
It just goes through me.
He went into quite a lot of the snuff movies that they were making with the children.
You know, here's a thing, Tinky, right? Snuff movies. Every single law enforcement agency in Europe, bar the Dutch, claims they're a myth. They don't exist.
Well, I've watched documentaries with Scotland Yard speaking in them. I've live streamed them. I've seen them. They're there.
That's what
and
I mean.
all what you have to do is start to look, and there is absolutely hundreds upon hundreds. Check out Ashton Hall. That's another one where they were doing experiments on children just as the Second World War had finished. They were all put into these institutions, and then another Dr. Mandolin, is it?
Yeah, and it's quite funny because I talk about this, the age of trauma. You know, the British got over the Napoleonic conflicts. There was a lot of alcoholism. They brought in the licensing laws to stop them doing it. The Vagrancy Act. The First World War occurred. Again, a lot of alcoholism.
Gin epidemic.
Well, they didn't even have a chance to lick their wounds, and they were back in another conflict. You know,
in the 1800s, there was a gin epidemic, and everyone was battering each other. Even that, they were killing the kids. So it's as though all this we're going back round in circles.
Again, with Poland, they flooded them with cheap vodka prior to the invasion. The Irish were flooded with cheap alcohol, and what they do now, they're shutting our pubs and giving us cheap booze within the shops. And you look at what happened after the Second World War. The country was on its knees economically, but also mentally, right? And spiritually. They gave these fellas, which were heavily traumatised guys, jobs within the care homes, in schools, and they were psychopaths.
Well, I might as well say it now, because there is an inquiry in that, but it's out there online. There's a document there that's meant to be kept under the 100 Years Secrecy Rule Act that ties the Home Office to employing superintendents of children's homes, and they were paedophiles. And then
you mentioned this the other day to me.
Yeah, and then they have been employing the paedophiles in the homes. So it's kind of like a system that goes from the top to the bottom.
There was 19 known paedophiles in Shirley Oaks. 19.
Well, that's what the inquiry said. Now in the report there was 28. So there's a lot of paedophiles been let off by the ICSA there. Is that 9 or 10?
There's hundreds, thousands, isn't there? Because even the ICSA isn't. They're telling you who they are and who's done it, but then nobody's getting investigated.
No one's getting arrested or charged.
It's not even getting past to the police.
We've got Ken Rigby swanning off in Australia, and Melanie Shaw locked up, and that's the reason why Ken Rigby's in Australia.
Yeah, and again, look at Melanie Shaw. Photographic memory. She called out all the digits on Prince Andrew's credit card.
And now all these allegations, and the ICSA knew about it for 2 years.
And of course they've locked her up and they medicated her.
Oh yeah, that's what they do. This is why I won't attend a court anymore, because they've got me to that stage where they are just about to mentally section me, and I am far from mental. It's them that's mental. They're doing this to
they're
kids.
at us at every angle, aren't they? They're at us with our food, with our children, with our spirituality, removing God away from us, trying to break families up.
Just why do they get rewarded? Why do they become sirs? Why did the Queen reward so many people?
Because the Queen's involved in it.
Yeah.
She's involved. All of them are involved. Every single one of them. I'd even say they're inbred, and they've been test tubed or something like that. I actually would.
Well, they're definitely perverts,
Yeah.
But what sick society, would allow this to go on?
Exactly.
If you was a good society, you would stop it. Even again, it's never been about me. But even when I spoke out, look what they did to me. And look what they did to Maggie Oliver. Look what they did to Lenny Harper.
Princess Diana.
Look what they've done to us.
Yeah.
How many victims
have been put on tag for what reason? Because I went outside the family
to protect Andrew?
To say you've done wrong to me, and then I went again, and then to shut me up, I'll put her on tag.
So justifying killing thousands of people to protect a secret.
Really? I didn't know
for
that.
one person. Did you get that? Justifying killing all them people just to protect one person.
Yeah. Well, I generally, in my opinion, think she was going to speak out for what a monster her husband was. A real monster.
Me too.
And it was nothing about the Islam thing. It was nothing about that. Or her being pregnant. It wasn't.
It was about the paedophile ring.
She spiritually woke up to what was going on. She was at that stage in her life, because we've just spoken to a guy, a top tier criminal, a man, a dangerous guy in his day, and he totally turned around his life. You know. And a man of total wisdom now, an uneducated guy that was a scrap metal dealer. And what a lovely man. And he just said, I just woke up. I woke up and God come into me, and I knew this was all wrong.
The light's always there, guys.
Always there.
And that's it, because the government wants you in dark. They want you down.
They want to take our spirituality away. Now, people are sitting there, look, they're feeding us atheism. They're feeding us all this crap on the TV.
Yeah.
And you look at how many people rush home to watch this Love Island.
And everything.
You've got these 20-something kids that want to be on Love Island. Wake up, you morons.
And they're obsessed.
You morons,
with
stop it.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing the girls in trauma crying their eyes out. There's so much stress and trauma going on, and you think, why?
And then strictly come this and strictly come that, and you're thinking, listen, we are selling away our birthright, our children's birthright. Everything is going away from us, and you are obsessed with this
sovereigns.
Crap.
I think it's more than that. I think it's they've got some kind of setup which is attached to the crown because of Jeanette's story and that. So I'm doing a bit of digging into that, like the land and all stuff like that, and I think it's a bit more bigger. I think they've had a mass paedophile. Like, do you know when you see like in horror films where they're putting them on meat hooks and they're chopping them up? I think that's what we've actually got in England. Well, this is what I'm saying. We've actually got a real life horror movie right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, I know.
And we need to wake up to stop this from happening.
They've been setting children running. They've been stealing children, letting them run in woods while they then hunt them down.
And then we've got the 100, but they've got the 100 Days, haven't we? All these films have been telling us what's going on.
Yeah. What is wrong with them? Are they literally high on drugs?
But this is what I said to you the other day. I said, let us get one of these films, these snuff films. There's a woman from Ireland said she was there when she watched Ted Heath kill a kid, right?
Bet you that's been lost.
Right, yeah. Well, so let's get these videos when they cut. This other woman also said they gaffer taped like a letter opener to her hand. She was a little girl and made her penetrate a month-old baby girl in the vagina till it killed her, right? So let's play that video, right? And you tell us that we're lying. You tell us that Jeanette's a liar. And let's get all the commissioners of police and sit them down and say, if you don't do something about this, we will do the same to you. You know, this is enough's enough. We've got to wake up.
I think from being a mum that when I had my first son, like, I just had this enormous bond and this love and this overwhelming protection that to hear these things and I just know that they're happening because I've lived with a psychopath, and if a psychopath is running the world, then we know what can happen because I've been in situations with mental abusers, and that is what this whole government is.
But we need to wake up the white middle classes that hold the power.
Wake up to
wake the fuck up, please. Wake up, because
kids are getting raped. Women are coming forward from
isn't a lie.
30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. People are getting raped with a third country for live streaming baby rape.
And if your kids come from social services and they're missing out there, if your kids come from social services and they're missing out there, they're buried in a farm in Surrey and they've been put on a meat hook alive and their organs ripped out and everything, sexually abused.
But Andrew, people have written, because we started up a letter writing campaign, and we said, right, the Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, Krista Dick, who is, honestly, this woman needs removing. She needs removing now.
She done zilch.
That woman.
Zilch.
She is done.
And she's motherless, so she don't care for children.
Another inbred then.
I've even researched when social services started. Have a guess when it did, John? The year Jesus was born. So you know, we know how the satanic ring works. And when you start researching the sacrificing of children, and you look into your actual history, look into blood libel with the Jews. You know, they were sacrificing children, but it's not just that was the 1700s. But when you keep going back and back, it's never stopped. This sacrificing of children.
This is Babylonian.
It's Babylonian bullshit.
This is Baal worship, you know. But if we look at what we did,
the devil, Satan,
with what Jeanette's testimony. You know, Jeanette gave what I call a free-flowing narrative. There wasn't any lying in this woman.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, this woman's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Right, and then from there we started up this campaign that you had to Surrey police that should. The governance was with the Met Police because it linked into London and they should have kept the continuity. They handed it over. The police never raided the place, never dug it. They should have dug it. Bodies of kids were there. And I said, when we write, this is what's going to happen. They're going to then say, oh, it's been looked at, nothing to see here, move on. But we can't accept that. That's what they've done.
No,
these letters are coming back saying the same old crap. Well, right, now we take this higher.
Aren't they paying victims and saying, like, well, instead of it going through a court, we'll just pay you compensation so nobody's getting justice as well?
No, they're not even paying victims.
And
or some that they have.
Some they have, like the
But we need a banner campaign with a crime reference number. For that crime, and we all need to go outside Scotland Yard and we need to hang that outside.
We do.
All of us with a crime reference number. It's called the Chris number outside it, and we say this needs investigating properly.
How do we get them raided?
What?
everything, social services,
Well, we
the
need
police,
the whole public
the
to stand
government,
behind us.
everything
They do.
we want them
We need the
raided,
whole public
courts,
behind
family
us.
courts, everything.
And it's like, you know, the lyrics of that song by the Manic Street Preachers. If we
Do
tolerate
we as
this,
the people
our
raid
children
them?
will be
Tolerate
next.
everything, yeah.
Our children will be next.
Do we raid them? Because we are the people and we hold the power and we are sovereign and something is going on.
Exactly.
Do
And
we
this
raid
is-
them ourselves?
Do you know?
Because they are not doing the jobs properly.
Let's look at what happened, right? In the lockdown, Amanda and myself were going down and doing live streams on anti-lockdown. But there was a woman there, and she was a little woman. She was a sparrow-built woman, tiny little. She was non-offensive, non-aggressive. She had a placard, and it said, "Please stop vaccinating your children." Maybe she's lost a child to a vaccine. We've just been with a guy who lost a child to a vaccine. She was no harm to anyone. They handcuffed this woman. They handcuffed
With
her.
the kids in the underwear,
And they there was a whole squad of coppers on this little. Honestly, there was just no need. She wouldn't have hurt anyone. She was a little sparrow. And then the week later, right, Black Lives Matter are ripping down statues. They're throwing water at the police. They're doing this
and
they're
the police
doing
are
that.
getting on their knees.
And the police are getting on their knees and not even touching them. Now, Billy, you're watching this, Billy. A guy's just got in touch and he wants your bank details, my son.
Oh,
so I told you this would happen.
wow.
And like I said, when people go, all the crap they say about me, I don't want the money. I don't want no one's money. Right? If there's money, we've just got our first pair of night vision goggles so we can sit up with our ex-army boys, our ex-paratrooper boys and everything else, and we can watch these perverts try and set up their satanic rituals, and it will be stopped in the name of common law.
Want any help?
You're
Get
not
on
doing
me.
it, you know.
That's it.
So
Common law,
right.
claim your sovereignty.
And if you want to donate to Billy, who's living in a car, you get in touch with me. I'll give you his details. You can give it to Billy. You deal with Billy, you know, and that's that. So I don't want your money.
Brilliant.
Billy gets some money. And people donated money to me, and we put it in Billy's pocket today. Right, Billy's got a pocket full of squiddlies. Only a few, but he's got it. So that's what we do, you know. And this is and not only that, we have a support team. We have a prayer team. Because sometimes prayer's all you've got left.
Do you know what? Yeah, and it
know?
does help, and God does.
Yeah.
I know it might not seem
He
it,
does
but
answer
he does
some
help.
prayers,
He
gotta
does
say.
help.
But it's not God who does this. It's the devil who does this.
Do you know what I did the other day? I said to God, give me something in my bloody time, will ya? I jumped on the bus, jumped off the bus, and there was this little post, and it was like everybody's woke up, and it had Facebook Truth Seekers Merseyside on it. So I've contacted them and I'm going to go down to the council. They go every Monday outside my area. So I'm going to go down there and support them.
Well, do you know what, Ange? I did a Christian TV station did an interview with me, and they said, what woke you up to Jesus? And I'm going to tell you now. And Kim, I will do. My Auntie Kim is my Auntie Kim.
Oh, hi, Auntie Kim.
Now, my son was injured in a terrible accident. He shouldn't have lived. And he was there for 3 days. He was dead for 7.5 minutes. His blood started to coagulate, you know. And I prayed to Jesus, and I said, Jesus, what man am I if I can't save my own son? You give me my son, I will go out there and I will save other people's children. But I won't do that if you don't help my son. I won't do it. I'm not doing it. My son woke up on the third day. My son woke up, and he made a miraculous recovery. So I told no one will ever talk against Jesus to me. I know who Jesus is, and I know what he
I think
does.
there is some kind of something there that's spiritually drawing us and connecting us together at
And
this
we are,
right time.
but we
We're
are
very connected and spiritual.
all of us
yeah.
are, Ange. Like, every one of us, we're out there. And because there's some people, and I do get it. People say, "Where was God when I was a bit?" I get that.
But that's man doing it, not God,
Yeah,
isn't
and-
it? It's
and
these
God
evils that are doing it. It's not him.
We're
But
the man that needs to stop the man.
But what I would say to him was, "You're here now. God got you here now. You might not see it, but He got you here now. The fact that you're coming forward and speaking out, it's incredible."
I believe God made me uncomfortable in my situation to make me move, to do something about what was going on around me, and to highlight that, you know, that this grooming, all this stuff online, this sexualization of your children, it's all for a reason. It's so they can be perpetrated on. And, you know, unfortunately as well, even if, you know, your kids are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, look at what they're doing, because they're the ones as well that will hide what's going on because they don't want you to know what's going on. And it won't be until it's too late that then you'll find out what is going on.
But there's a message here from Robert Blair, right?
Oh, woo! You're
Now-
an angel.
Oh, Bobby.
Now anyone
Joe.
who knows Joey and Bobby Blair,
Love them.
if you hear their story and the fact that they are probably
amazing.
the top tier, they
Aren't
are
they?
the Rolls
Amazing.
Royce of campaigners.
Yeah.
And they are excellent. They are unbelievable. And what was done to
Just
them
amazing
in a
guys.
religious environment with priests doing that, and they've still got faith, not in the religion or nothing
Yeah.
like that, but in God, and to put this right and to stop it.
Yeah.
I think they're awesome.
Here,
I've
definitely.
actually
Awesome.
gone through their story with a
We've-
fine tooth comb and what them boys have been through
Oh.
and made to shut their mouths, and they
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
mention who the
names.
abuser is
Yeah.
and the names.
And this is the
and you know
And
everything what's going on.
it involved terrorism in Ireland. It involved
Yeah.
the British government. It involved the military. It involved everything.
This is what I'm saying. Like it
It's
all
that
connects
deep.
They
to the royals.
For those that don't know it, they were making these twin brothers. Now I'm a twin. I'm one of a twin. They were making them rape each other while priests
it's just
sat round and
horrendous.
masturbated. I mean, what is
Makes
going
me-
on?
it's just
What
fucking
kind of-
awful.
What world is that?
It's just,
It's a
it's
disgusting
abnormal,
world.
sick,
You know,
gross,
and-
vile.
Yeah.
And what more upsets me with child abuse, though, is a child can't even fight back, and they don't even have a way out because the people that could be surrounding them could be the evils that are there. And that's what annoys me the most, and that's why I can't understand why the whole nation isn't in uproar. Even like that,
Look.
a little girl's throat got slit the other week. You know, in
Liverpool,
Rotherham
is
or
it?
something.
Was it Liverpool?
No, I can't.
Burnley
think.
or-
Yeah, but yeah, around there.
Right, yeah,
you
I
know,
remember.
she's going to a park Mother's Day. You know, the whole country should, you know,
Yeah.
be the bells should be ringing everywhere.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah,
and
what's
the day
going
that
on?
we had the first cape of a rape of a child, we should have had alarm bells ringing up and down the whole of England. This is going on.
But
this
that's
is
the
going
thing,
on.
no, people are doing that. That the guard dogs are stopping us,
But,
yeah.
but and you
But
look,
not enough.
you
No,
look
not
at
everyone.
you
Yeah,
look at
not enough. And the whole
everyone is.
you
world
look
needs
at
to
Lord,
rise.
Lord Grenville Janner, right? He got classed as what? And again, I am not against any religion. They classed him as what's called a good Jew because he was a Nazi hunter. The bloke was a sodomite of young boys that par excellence. No one even Jimmy Savile didn't come close to this
Yeah.
guy. He had the keys to Glenparva kids home. He was raping kids left, right, and centre, and he got away with it because he was high up, helping out the Israelis in catching these Nazi hunters. Now, why again?
Just gets
Why
worse and worse.
Another one with the key.
are the Israeli community and the Judaic community protecting this man? You can't align yourself with this man.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same with anyone who's a Catholic and an Anglican or a Muslim. You can't align yourself with paedophiles. Give them up, offer them up and get them out. They have no place in your community, no place at all. It's wrong. And this bloke, he went on, his son has just been kicked off of the IICA because he was causing problems for a vulnerable victim. His daughter was also accused of stuff. And, you know, and these are people high up in privileged positions and power, and they are just abusing it. And our police force are protecting them, not the ones
Yeah.
that they abuse.
And do you know who else is protecting it? The councils.
Yeah.
The councils are making all decisions,
They're
and
all
they
all
all have a
doing it.
combined authority yet, where they've combined everything in together, and they all come together in the little meetings, and they make the best decision in the interest of the child. Now, this is not happening.
Do you know, I had a case years ago, and it involved the security services, and a fella said to me, and he was to do with MI5, he said, John, I'm going to tell you now that every single local authority council office has an attachment from MI5 there.
Exactly.
And he told me that.
Exactly.
They all know.
Yeah.
They all know
They
exactly.
all know up and down. So why if it wasn't happening, why did we all know when I was being brought up, like as a teenager in the 80s, 90s, that anyone in a care home would get abused? Why did we all know that?
I knew
if it wasn't
protected my son.
happening, but we all know that it was happening.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? To actually see a satanic abuser, like with your own eyes, you can see it in the eyes. Like I'm saying with everything, you can see it in the eyes. Because when they took my daughter from C-section, they come at me like vultures, and they literally came at me and they were like, "Where's the baby? Where's the baby?" The eyes.
They're like
demons.
Did you see
demons,
that footage
demons,
of that guy,
literal
that
demons.
surgeon from the abortion clinic, come out in America, and he's come out and they're filming outside an abortion clinic, and he just kicks off and he's lost it. I don't know if you saw it, a guy with glasses,
No, I don't think
and his
he
eyes
has.
just shot black, and he started screaming. He didn't know what he was doing. He was totally demonised.
Wow.
Totally demonised.
I think there
Britney
is
Spears
demons,
did an
yeah.
interview, didn't she? Britney Spears as well, where she's speaking to an Australian woman, and then it's as though a spirit actually enters, and as she's doing the interview, she goes, "Oh, hello."
Oh,
and
I
then
saw that.
You know,
and then she shaved all her hair off.
yeah. So obviously, just going back to like, there's actually satanic families and bloodlines where they're making whole families be paedophiles and then to paedophile on other people as well. Do you know what I mean?
Just another point out, like, because obviously I do my little shows and that, and I get like a lot of.
Well, go and promote your shows.
Oh, we never do we?
Do you know what? I don't even know where my phone is, but I think are we doing a second one, or is this the only one?
Well, we'll do this one tonight, but there's going to be more. There's going to be more. I'm up in a week because my little.
Because I'd like to go into my story a little bit to help.
Of course. Well, we'll
help
do
Jeanette.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that. We can do another one based on Angie's testimony, but. We've got Wake Up UK, Alan Merritt.
Angie and Tinky TV on YouTube.
Right, so it's... We'll say that again. Give that.
Angie and Tinky TV on YouTube.
Angie and Tinky TV. So, please, right, what we're going to need to do is hold up.
I'm on VK, Tinkerbell.
And we've got wakeupuk.net, if you go into that. That's also on YouTube as Wake Up UK. Anyone can subscribe to that and watch all the videos.
So what you need to do, if people are in there, just put some questions out. We'll quite happily, because I know there's like a bit of a minute delay in the question that's coming up.
Yeah.
But us lot, we are always in communication with each other. And we are only separated by geography.
Yeah.
And that is the only thing that does that. We can organise Zoom meetings. We are always on the phone. The girls are always involved with Big Bad Alan Merritt and the Beach Home Gang constantly. And Aaron...
Sandy Shaw.
Sandy
Smith, sorry.
Yeah. Sandy Shaw. but Alan has really sort of like... He's a national coordinator now, isn't he? Alan spends a lot of his time sort of going up and down,
He's smashing it.
Okay, there we go.
And at the moment, we're talking all about common law and, giving people different angles to come at the authorities with through the law of the land instead of using the maritime law, which is their system to help them not let people get justice, if that makes sense. So
and it was interesting because there was an ex-policeman saying, he said to me, did a podcast, said, did you get caught, talk common law? I said, yeah, we did, yeah. Things with cordons and arrests and things like that were all down to common law. And he said they stopped teaching it. I think it was sort of like 2000 something. They actually stopped teaching common law.
The rest of the police force from then on
whereas
getting taught.
It was saying in the 70s, majority of it was common law. It was common law, and they've slowly have eroded common law.
Erased.
But
yes,
there
law,
is a law that a lot of people don't understand.
They are using...
This is corporate
canon law as well.
They are using common law because I've seen it in their documents, right? They're still using common law to this day. Yeah, so in their police documents and in social services documents and in this document and that document, there's common law all over it. You
say that, Ange, because there was a guy who was talking about registering a child, and he was on, I think I was on a podcast somewhere, and he said that if you don't register your child, they've got no jurisdiction, and they were poo-pooing him, and I said, I remember this because there was a case when I was on child protection, 4 children were taken into police protection, right, a PPO. Then it went to an EPO, right, which is emergency protection order, which the social workers get. Police one lasted, I think, for about 48 hours. The EPO lasted 72 hours, and then they go and get a court order. And it ended up going to a court order. They had to give back the 4th kid because the parents hadn't registered that kid.
Yeah.
But do you know what a scary thing is what they're doing is they're taking children off people, and the parents have never even been to a criminal court for any charges or offences for whatever's going. Do you know what,
And they're
so how are they getting away with?
Well, they're using this emotional harm thing, aren't they?
Well, there's nothing emotional because there's no harm there. They have no evidence that there's harm even there. We have evidence against them to say that they have harmed our children while in their care. Yeah, so like I'm fighting for my daughter's records now, right? And I'm having murder with Wirral Borough Council, who says that they're not going to release my daughter's records because my daughter's hips were split in two, and she had to have her hips put back together as a baby, and I was present with her at the scan, So they're refusing me the records now. How can they even refuse records at this point? What gives them the right to hide what's happened to my child?
But the other thing they do, and we hear this all the time, when people apply for the records, there's always a flood, a fire.
Well, no, my records are there. They're refusing them. They've refused them for 4 years.
But what we'll do is I'll put you in touch with Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
We've got Anne-Marie is doing that side of things. We've got another woman. She deals with the family law stuff. She's really good. We'll put you in touch with her as well.
See, John, I don't even want to go back to the court because it's so corrupt. They need raiding. I can't go back there. I'll swear black and blue. I will not enter that court unless I've got somebody has turned my whole case upside down and they've read every single page and they're willing to go in there with a fight because believe you me, what they've done to me in 7 years, this is going to be a damn hard fight, and I am not walking into that court without anyone that's unrepresented. A dodgy solicitor that I've had in the past year that I've had to sack and that they've classed me as mentally unstable to represent myself, Nah, not having it when you've abused my children. It's as simple as that. The judges are complicit. The judges are corrupt. I know children are going missing from the care system, and I've put a freedom of information in, and they've turned around and said that they can't go out because it costs them too much money in manpower. If it takes over 15.8 hours manpower in a day to go and find these missing children, there's 17 million missing children in the UK. It was just about to come out before Corona. It was just about to be debated in the House of Parliament.
It was
exactly
Corona.
That's another story, isn't it?
But Corona, if you look, what was going to happen in the 16th of May, we were all getting together, weren't we? We had our protest.
And, Corona came along.
And Corona, boom, all went and all that.
Well, don't you think that the whole Corona started because everyone was protesting anyway?
Exactly.
That's when it did all start, really, didn't it?
But what we'll do is, there's a woman called Patty. I want to put you in touch with Patty, right? And she's a family court expert. Let's see if we can sort that out. Let's see. What we'll do is we'll go through a timeline of Angie's case.
I hope the judges have all got Corona and they've all popped off by the time I get back in there, because if any one of them is still standing, they're coming down.
They won't have popped off because Corona's a load of old shit anyway.
Well, do you know what? I'm just hoping right now that Corona's real and they're all gone. Yeah.
Well, let's think of something more.
I can only hope.
More inventive than Corona. We've got to have something a bit worse.
Well, I hope they've all had a heart attack. Let's put it that way. Go and have an heart attack.
But if we look at what Darren was saying,
wear a mask.
What Darren was saying
on the daily.
His probation officer, when he got released, was one of his abusers. There's a lovely guy, I can't name him right.
I wouldn't be surprised if half these judges in Liverpool family court are abusers.
This is what's been mentioned. One guy said one of the High Court judges that presides over child abuse cases in the Crown Court was one of my abusers. So, I mean...
Oh, we're talking, John. We're talking some naughty shit now. I've just been having murder with the disclosure and barring service yet. So, my town's got a hidden grooming scandal that they haven't released yet to the public yet. I've got a petition on change.org to release the Wirral Borough Council grooming scandal. Now,
why are we
Eric
getting
Robinson.
getting the grooming scandals in the north?
Hidden grooming scandal.
They're everywhere. Everywhere.
In Wirral.
Apparently, not so long ago, a pedo hunter got one from what was it, a kebab shop round the corner from me. And then I had someone messaging me going, "Oh, it's not what you think." Well, it's not what you think. Well, what I've just seen is that someone was trying to make a date. They got a girl to come from Bolton to come to the station here. So this is how they're doing things. Getting him
right
everywhere,
next to the stations.
I spoke with Ellie's mum the other day. And I've usually got the Ellie t-shirt.
We support you, Ellie.
She was just saying Ellie's got involved in something she shouldn't have done out of her own fruition. However, what's happening is horrendous.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
she's a
Horrendous.
baby.
She's a
a baby.
kid. She's a kid, and this shouldn't be happening. And her parents are lovely, lovely people.
And I'm not being funny enough. And a person over the age of 18, unless you're mentally unstable, you know that you're not to sleep with a child, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's
Of
it.
course.
That's the be all and end all of it. There's a law there.
And that's...
So if you overstep that mark, you're called a paedophile, and you will be getting arrested, and you will be going to jail. And it's as simple as that. Because we won't stop till we put you all in jail.
And that's what, you know, my ex should have done, really. Do you know what I mean? He shouldn't have been doing what he was doing.
We were talking
at that
about
point.
this today, and I said, if I'm my own way, age of consent 21.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah,
I think
100%. They need to
definitely
up
people
their...
need to be educated.
There's no need, is there? You
And
know?
at this point where we're coming to, we're going to need to arm ourselves because the country is getting flooded with the wrong people, yeah. Rapists, terrorists, knife crime. We're going to need to... It was only the gun laws were took away from us in 1996, yeah. We need to get them gun laws back because of what this British government is doing to us. We need our arms back up. We need our
That
arms.
was through Dunblane as well when, you know, a madman went in and
We
shot
need our
a load
arms
of
right
kids
now,
and
what
a
Hamilton.
teacher. Yeah, so, you know, maybe if that teacher was armed, she could have at least had, you know, a chance beforehand. But then it makes you think, what, you know, are the government doing experiments on random people
Exactly,
here and there?
with Serco.
And then all of a sudden, you know, they pop out and, you know, a nutter all of a sudden appears and he's killed a whole fucking
Well,
school.
there's a guy watching here, his name's just come up, and I know this fella, and I'm not going to say his name. He was in the cell next to Abdul El Megrahi. Now, he was a Lockerbie bomber, Abdul El Megrahi.
Oh my
Right,
God.
this guy, I know, me and him know each other, he's my mate, and what he turned around and said was, John, he was working for the British intelligence. Abdul El Megrahi.
See, they're all involved in it, aren't they? British. It's all the British.
This was in Sockton Prison in Edinburgh, and he said he wasn't a terrorist. He wasn't. It wasn't him that did it. And I said, did people attack him? He said, no, because they all knew he was a nice bloke. He was innocent.
Oh,
Yet they
no.
put him in prison. And it's lie after a lie after a
That's
lie.
it, isn't
Yeah.
it? So every person, whether you're being singly raped or you're being groomed or you're being raped as a child and you've been put in rings or you're in a family, no one's getting justice. Anyone that's going is just getting knocked back. So, you know, no wonder.
By the police,
and
by
then
the courts, by the
victims
social
will
services, by
go
the
into
solicitors.
depression, you know, they'll go to drugs, all sorts of things. Commit
Yeah, because people are not
suicide.
listening. People are not listening.
So when you're not getting listened to, you know, if it's going to affect the victim, isn't it, or the person, if no one's listening to you.
Do you know what annoys me as well? Like, everybody knows what's going on, yeah. Like, they just go, oh, well, it doesn't concern me. But, you know...
it will do.
It will do. This is what
When
we're
they
saying.
take your
It's
children and you're
coming.
injected and then it all links
It-
up to
Oh,
the
yeah.
5G.
It might be.
They're
It's,
trying to get a
5G.
law to rape your kids in front of you,
But-
right? And you can do nothing about it,
but-
yeah? You're getting arrested if you say...
We'll have to decline it. But, and just what I'm saying about the white middle classes, and this isn't like a class thing or a colour. If you ignore this, we've had our kids assist an individual. So, so I'm getting quite a few calls and I have to decline them. But it will be your kids next. It will be.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
that's the
in the
thing.
matter that this is where I'm saying we need to, we really need to arm ourselves now because the governments are bringing so many people over that we need to protect ourselves and protect our children. And you know the way that
Go on, keep going.
they're slowly slowly protecting the I can't remember what I was going to say. Go on.
Paedophile, I think it was the word you were
I
saying.
can't even remember what I was
You know,
going to say. I
but,
think I got stalled.
I mean,
Like
obviously,
Pizzagate and all the rest of it, isn't it? And all
Give us
sorts.
a bit of a donation.
the Queen.
Yeah.
Amanda thinks the Queen could give us a donation. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be good, that,
Should
wouldn't
go
it?
and knock tomorrow.
I think the Queen should fund the 16.8 hour manpowers that social services haven't got the money to go out and find the
Nice,
kids.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be
One-
nice that, wouldn't it? To
How
go and
many
find
are-
all the kids and raid all the
140.
undergrounds. Right, yeah, do you reckon we write her a letter?
What,
Let's
attached
send
to a
our
brick
Lizzie a
straight
letter.
through Buckingham Palace window?
140,000 children go missing a year, and how long have we had
Well,
these
look,
statistics
look,
for?
look,
Do you
Exactly,
know what I
that's a year,
mean?
yeah.
How long have we had these
140,000.
statistics for?
Who's 140,000 children are they?
Someone is trying
Well,
to stop the
Jeanette's
broadcast.
put something out. She said,
Oh.
if it's not your kids, it's your grandkids.
Exactly.
And that is it. That's so true, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we need-
But I think I think the royal family are finished. I think the whole system is finished. And I
It
think
is.
they're in their last
It's
final
nearly
breath.
drops
They're-
now.
they're-
It's
They are
nearly drops.
literally
They're
going to
froze,
pull
yeah.
down.
You know,
The house
You know,
of cards will
and
fall.
I think the police know it as well. They all know
and
it.
if you look at wars, you know, when they wage wars, who fights their wars? The working classes. It's
Send
us
us out
that
to
go out
war.
and fight your wars. It's us that
Don't
build
fight
your
your
build. It's the same as like when I go about Christopher Wren. He never laid a brick in his life. He got us to do this. We did this. So what we got to do is understand our power. They can't do sod all without us.
Exactly.
They need us to do it. Then the police are just working class men. You know, the lower ranks, not the upper ranks, the lower. We have to say no more. We have to do what is right for our children. And if it means turning against
what's
this,
right and wrong, isn't it? It's just that simple. But they're not. The system isn't designed to work for what's right and wrong. It is designed to punish the people that are the victims in situations, and then try to make them out like they're mentally ill. And it's not them that's mentally ill. It's the government it's not working for the people. It's them that aren't right in the head.
It's like the 5G. They've gone and put all the 5G towers up.
While we've been on lockdown with no COVID.
With our government money, with the taxpayers' money. Then Boris Johnson, after all the warnings he's had,
everywhere in all the hotels.
After all the warnings Boris Johnson's had, now he's going to have to rip it all out. Now they're moaning now, it's going to take 10 years to rip all the infrastructure out.
Seriously?
You've just put it up in a week on lockdown, 3 weeks on lockdown. It's going to take you 7 years. Well, I'm giving you a message, politicians. Why don't you pay for it out of your pocket? Because it was your decision. And we told you a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that 5G was bad. So not our fault, is it? It's your fault for making the decision. Why don't you pay for it? Pay for your own mistakes, Pay for your own mistakes. Stop terrorising us.
Down on you. They don't care.
That's what I mean. They're
terrorising us. What they're doing right in front of our eyes, and they don't care about anyone. They don't care about the children.
We're raping and abusing.
But what the police don't seem to realise is that the planners are going to be against them as well, and their families. And then when their children start getting raped or abused, and these circles start happening more and more. I mean, one of the illegals was taking photographs of my friend's daughter. The police had to be phoned. That's just the other, the other week.
Again.
Do you know what I mean? So what have they done? But then I'm walking past the same homeless woman who's been on the streets for 2 years, and then I'm looking at
immigrants
and then I'm in this flat that's absolutely freezing cold, while the system hasn't done the job. And what killed me off in between while I freeze to death, and I don't eat proper because the government doesn't give you enough money to look after yourself properly. And if it wasn't for me family helping me, here and there, and then I had to go and live with them. This December.
Then when you get an upper crust politician who gets accused of a pedo, and he is a pedo, he gets £1 million for the second time.
I've got a list somewhere of MPs if you want me to find it.
Well, I think we know. But of course, there's a world of difference between truth and proof.
Yeah.
Right.
And intelligence and unintelligence.
Well, if you take like historical child abuse cases, only 2% attain fruition of a conviction.
Yeah.
Exactly. 2%. Are we saying that 98% of those that come forward with the most heartfelt, ingrained testimony they'll ever give, the most pain-stricken thing they'll ever say, are liars? Well, of course they're not. But only 2% of them attain a conviction. And of course, when we look at what barristers go on, they go on proof,
it's shocking.
Not truth. The truth is, this is massive. The proof is something totally different.
Well, they don't even look at evidence, do they, John? That I'm failing to see that they actually even look at evidence.
In my case, all they've put in a court is lies. The social worker's been allowed to write lies, come up with a storyteller to write a report, and then that report's gone into the court, and I'm standing there going, hey, hang on a minute, Your Honour, that's fucking a load of bullshit, and the judge is going, get out.
Well, when my
ex-partner... 400 quid an hour.
And 400 quid an hour. And I'm like, excuse me, constable. He's saying I've been arrested yet, and they've got a piece of paper from this. Police, they haven't even got money, haven't even been arrested.
What would you do with 400 quid an hour?
For 8
hours a day, every day.
Exactly. Yeah. But John, they're holding up a piece of paper going, I've got something from Merseyside Police. Yeah.
Well,
I've never been arrested.
Assaulted me, tried to murder me, John.
Fake evidence.
The police walked in with him on top of me. Have a guess who got arrested?
Did you?
Yeah, you worked that one out. Worked that one out. And then there was three witnesses to it, and have a guess what? They didn't even go to speak to them.
That's our justice system for you.
Was that at Christmas?
Not this Christmas. No, that was.
No, that was when she asked them to take an investigation.
Did you get nicked the other Christmas or something? Yeah.
Oh, on Christmas Eve. No, what it was I saw a constable on the street. Oh. So I wanted to ask him what he was going to do about my abuse and my children's abuse.
This French guy Eric loves the Scouser ladies.
So
We
I
are
asked
the best.
So I
We
saw
tell
the
the truth.
officer. He was going to pull someone, I think, because he just come up in one of them blacked out cards with the lights. Well, I thought, well, it's an officer. I want to report a crime, so I'll just go and ask him. So I went over and I said, like, officer, I need to report a crime. I've been abused. My children are being abused. Can you help me? And then he went go and report it to the police. So I said, I have for 7 fucking years.
And then fucking battered him.
No, and then he went, and then I went, I have, and I went to walk away from him, and then I went, yeah, cunt, because he was being a cunt. I'm sorry, and it doesn't, you are allowed.
Oh, that's 10 Hail Marys for you,
Well,
young lady.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry, God. I know, but he knows that we didn't.
Well, I've
mean
always
it.
said that, when God wants you to forgive, I will forgive at the point I get justice, and I won't forgive until I get justice, and it's as simple as that for me. I know he says we should forgive, but
you
I'll
must
forgive in the end
listen,
when
Ange,
justice
you must
comes.
never give up. Never
No,
give
that's
up.
what I mean. I will forgive
Never
when
give up.
justice is served rightly. Yeah,
But then,
Until
the police
no forgiving.
officer, then because I had called him a CUNT, yeah, and this is a power game now between him and me.
Well, he's
Do you
gonna
know what I
win,
mean?
isn't he?
So,
He's gonna
well,
win.
of course he's going to win when there's two of them, and he's got cuffs and a flashy light. Well,
And a baton and a taser and a gun.
and then he abducted me off the street.
And a horse.
A baton.
He abducted me off the streets, and then took me to the desk sergeant. Well, I wouldn't sign any paperwork. And then they kept saying, do you understand we've arrested you? And I went, no, I don't. You've abducted me. And then they put me in the cells for 9 hours.
Is that when
and
you
then
got a tag?
Yeah, no. That was a few years before.
There's a pattern emerging here. Isn't
Exactly.
there?
I got Nick for Tommy Robinson when Hope Not Hating Unite
But
the
the
Union
fact is,
turned up.
because-
I got banned from Facebook because of Tommy Robinson.
Because
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
We all did.
But at least he said thank you. Yes, he did say thank you.
All right, Tom, we all missed that.
Thank you too, Tommy.
Tommy, you best sort it out for me. They've lost all my baby's pictures, all my videos, all my evidence,
Everything.
police evidence, the lot.
Yeah.
Because I supported you, mate. They've took me Facebook, everything's gone. And I can't even get in touch with Facebook. They're uncontactable.
Well, we're going to when we next go down
Are we
to
allowed
London.
to roll up in here?
yeah,
of course
I
you
need
can.
one. I
Do you want one?
didn't want to ask because we're on
Are we
camera.
going to have a little break or go?
Well, no, you go and get the roll. I said carry on. Me and Angela have a little chat.
Go on.
Because we are running over 300 views, live views, and it's sort of look, we won't be much longer. But what we're doing is we're looking at consolidating everyone, all the truth seekers, all the campaigners. It's slowly coming together. I mean, I met Jimmy the Hat the other day.
Yeah, Jimbo. Jimmy the
And then we got Sandy, we got Alan, and this is the thing is all these groups coming together. Now we do get a little bit of division every now and then, and we understand that, and we can account for it because there is trauma comes in, but we won't abide by the spitefulness. The spitefulness has to drop away because we can't have that, can we?
It's basically, everybody has to remember that they're an adult, yeah, and there's children that's being hurt in this game, and everybody in the adult world, everyone in the adult world just needs to be a bit more braver and stand up and have a bit of balls, so that we can run in and save the children. But we need your help too, do you get what I'm saying? We just need to come together.
But if you look at this, I mean, there's look, see that t-shirt, even this thing, right? That picture was taken in, I think 2014, when I did an article for the Daily Express. My Romanian neighbours, they're gypsies, right? They saw it and they went, "Yeah, she's really skinny, John. You're really skinny there, John is really skinny, But and I can remember we got these done, and I know they're thinking about that. So this has been going on for quite some time now. But
I'll do that.
oh right, lovely. Yeah, she's doing us a little. Oh no,
first.
are you sure?
No, you go first.
Right.
Go.
We have all come together. We have come from so many backgrounds. Even we do. Even when I sat with Nikki, she laughs her head off. She goes, "John, we were two sides of the fence. She was there on the vice side of stuff, like from my side as a street prostitute, but she was what they call a clipper, right? And then of course I'm there as a detective on the vice." And look at us working together now, you know?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And it's everyone is all coming together, even like with.
Do you know what, John?
Even like with Billy Maloney. Billy Maloney, was a serious criminal in his
We
day,
need more
and
people
he's
like
my
you.
best mate.
We need more people like you in the police, in the armed forces, and in the NHS.
This is
We need more people
no,
like
no,
John.
No. This is what you're saying about the armed forces, and we call out to the armed forces. I know
Yes.
the Blairs have got this. The Blairs are on lockdown with that one, aren't they?
Can I just say something here, because obviously I do a few little things myself, and I actually put.
Well, you're fag, and you could have
Go
listened. But the Blairs have got a good connection with the armed forces, and they're sorting out the veterans, aren't they?
Yeah, I actually had a word with one of the veterans the other night, and I'm not going to say his name because I'm going to keep that confidential because it was a private chat, but I did ask him a couple of questions and he didn't answer me, but he said he'd answer me privately. But the questions I asked, and this will refer to all the veterans out there, was when me and Tinky went to Buckingham Palace last year, we were marching with the veteran. We camped in the Queen's Garden, by the way. And we had the police there for 5 days. But as we were on the streets and we were marching with the veterans, the veterans came up to me and told me what was going on with the veterans. Now it's the same.
They've had enough, haven't they?
Jimmy Savile has been raping them, and they are trying to fight for justice. And the question I asked was, how many. Sorry.
This was in Green Park. Someone said in Green Park.
Yeah, it was in Green Park. Yeah,
we were both there.
Yeah, so
finish
sorry,
that.
go on.
Yeah, go on. So anyway, oh God, what was I saying? Oh,
the veterans, and you were like,
yeah. So another thing I asked as well, another question: if you knew now what you knew then. Sorry, if you knew then what you knew now.
Oh, you on about the Royal Marines? Because he was.
I'm on about them all, John.
Yeah,
if you knew what was happening to our children back then, would you have fighted for your queen? Yeah, that's the question. A queen in your country. Would you have fought for a bunch of paedophiles, basically, because that's what it is? And we have to wake everybody up in the veteran community to what's gone on to them. There's witnesses and victims in the veteran. And do you know what?
But one of my family members was actually abused in Southport, which isn't far down the road, which brings to the circle where we are now. So, right, if you look at even my family history, so someone very close to my family was abused. They were 5 years old and there was about 5 people. Now, they cannot to this day speak up about this. I don't know, that's all what I know, and they cannot speak. So I know it was going on in my town then. And then when I look at that, I was groomed, so then I was groomed, and then through the situation, through the family courts and the separation of me leaving a controller, I've seen my children be abused. But not just, the younger ones mentally. I've seen my older child have to go through things that she shouldn't have been going through, if that makes sense.
Well, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect you as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we had this with Billy, because Billy was never had children, because he said if I had a child, they'd take him off me, because they said I'm a man of violence and I've come from an abusive background. And he was in with a girl who had a kid, and they got in touch with this girl and said, the police said to him, 80%, which is total bollocks, 80% of those that have been abused gone to abuse. This is nonsense.
No,
it's 10%.
Do you know what?
It's 10%.
Yeah. I know all the victims out there. They haven't gone out and abused a child, have they?
Total bullshit.
It's bullshit, isn't
it?
They
will put up as much high walls and high armour to protect those children than anything on this universe. That's what,
But obviously this was because we've been going maybe for an hour, right, and we have been running at 300 live hits. Now that is an incredible amount of hits. We was on 4,
wow, I've not been on Facebook
and it drops
for
that.
ages,
But it is. If I got 100 live hits throughout, I'm looking at big hits, and we've been hitting. And I know that I
think it's because we're telling the truth. People link with the truth because there's so much bullshit out there within the media.
But when Nikki does her thing, she runs at 500 hits because people want to hear her. She's from the street, they want to hear.
Even through this situation, like you've just said, John, that's left me vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? Because nobody was listening to me. So, and as well, because my ex-partner as well knew how I worked, does that make sense? So, because he was I've had 26 years of abuse and it's still going on today, You know, he knew the pattern, how I'd
that
work,
light in there?
that I'd take so much abuse, and then all of a sudden
Right,
I'd
right,
go,
well, let's look at that.
I'd say something. Do you get me?
Tinky, let's look at that, right? You've had years of abuse,
Yeah.
but you ain't given up.
No, I can't.
No. And
should we open that one?
Sherry's calling
It's not
me.
in there.
Yeah, open the next
That
one.
one?
Open that one.
That one.
Yeah, and I'll open it for you. It's all right. We're just having a little slurp. But this is what makes
Wet
it
and
work.
our whistle.
Yeah.
Hold that mic, babe.
Right. But what we're saying is that people obviously want to hear what we've got to say. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not mouth almighty, and I'm not. But I will
I am.
continue. I will. Yeah. We know, don't we?
we know you are, love.
I'll say
So sorry, I have to keep doing this because people are calling, right? And this is what happens. That phone of mine will go non-stop, and people say to me, "Aren't you worried about infiltrating?" Of course, we're all going to be infiltrated. We are.
And do you
It's
know
gonna
what I
happen.
do? I don't listen. Do you know what? To
I'm
be
not
honest with you,
bothered.
John, can I just say something?
Yeah.
I've never actually had anything bad ever. And no matter what platform I've worked on, I worked on Facebook. Then I spent a load of time on YouTube, and I have spent hours putting things out there. I've put loads of your videos out there. With is it with John? What's his name, Mr. Wong?
Wilfred
Wong.
We love
they are
Wilfred.
he's just amazing, that guy. And
Don't we love Wilfred Wong? You know.
I've put so much, effort into trying to get this out and what's going on, because it's not because I want my face there. It's because I don't want a teenager to go through what I've gone through. And fair enough, I haven't been abused from a little child, but it was bad enough being abused from a teenager. So, I've always been so protective over children anyway. And I never realised that these things were actually really going on, because I suppose I was a bit like everybody else out there. If you hear it, but then you turn away from it because you go, it's too distressing. But now I've had to face this fear head on. Face it head on.
Let's look at evolution, right? We started this, and you've been doing this longer than I have, right?
Oh,
and then,
who's that? Hi, Kim. I don't
Kim
know.
again.
She's saying
That's
we're
my
great.
Auntie Kim.
Oh, is that? Oh,
Auntie Kim.
hello, Auntie Kim.
Right, but I was relatively. Bill Maloney really pushed me into this.
Yeah.
I was doing stuff with Camilla, who had Kids Company, the big children's charity that was shut down.
Yeah.
Deliberately, because she knew what was going on, and she held David Cameron accountable. But then, as we've gone through this years and years, now I get attacked. Now I'm becoming a bit of an emotional punch bag for everyone, because I'm an ex-copper. They choose to hate me or not, but I don't care, because the haters are 0.01%, and they are.
And you've got to keep pushing this no matter what.
And the thing is, Ange, I've been accepted into criminal communities, in all sorts of communities for what I am. People, even some very, very...
I always feel that the haters are obviously people that might have done things to
They
children
have,
or something.
They have, but if
And they don't
not
want
all,
us
not all,
what
but
they're doing, so they're trying to shut us up.
But Ange, if you look at what's happened more recently, the real big catalyst, I think, that has occurred has been Jeanette Archer.
Exactly.
I
yeah.
mean,
There's
that is
thousands
just...
of bodies buried in a farm. I won't forget that.
I've got my
I won't
letters
forget
over
it,
there ready for...
Because this is where I'm going to back Jeanette up. And, I've got a lot to my story, but I'm going to back Jeanette up. I've been saying this for years and years and years, probably 7 years. Where are these children going? Because I'm seeing the mother's side, right, where the mother's going, where's my child, where's my child, and they're going, get away, get away, get away, you've got no right to your child. How have we got no right when we know, they were just about to forcibly adopt my daughter. Now, what went into that forced adoption of my daughter, and luckily she was saved, but it doesn't stop the fact that they still rolled that
still
paperwork,
not got her.
I've got that paperwork for the forced adoption.
But Ange, on that front, there's a lady that again, I referred to her earlier, that contacted me regarding her role. Sherry, hi. Sherry, I can't answer you because we're doing this.
Hi, Sherry.
Right. Right, and she said that there were 2 runaway kids that were identified as runaways. Their bodies were found, right? And she said they weren't killed by known paedophiles. They were killed in satanic ritual abuses. And she said, I was there. when they were
And
killed.
do you know, you're talking about this spiritualness. If I
Yeah.
can just, when I was little, my mum, I didn't read the full Bible or anything when I was little or stuff like that. But I had the children's books about Jesus.
But
and
we
my mum always
it's
taught
a
me
progressive journey.
that
Tinky,
you tell the truth or you shame the devil. And
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a thing in me
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what she used to say. You tell the truth or you shame the devil. And I
Yeah.
used to think, I'm not going to hell. And he used to say, yeah, if I'd done it, I'd say, well, you said if I tell the truth, it's all right. And she used to say, well, yeah, it is. So I can't really tell you off because I've told you to. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's good parenting.
Someone's putting a thing about Tommy Robinson. Now I want to say something. I've been on Sikh radio, Sikh television. I've been on Voice of Islam twice. It's all a platform to get it out. There's Muslims that don't want this happening to their children. There's Sikhs, there's Hindus that don't want it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he ever
It's
does
good
it.
against evil.
I came forward. I can't do it, but I did a podcast because of what happened to his daughter. She was sexually assaulted at a Centre Parks by a band of paedophiles and all that, and he needed to be told that how he was treated was wrong. It was wrong. I'm for fairness.
I was with one person, so I mean, I feel I do need to do a full interview about what my situation was because it is quite complicated as well. But
I think
these poor,
I think people will listen. If you want to put it out,
for these poor people though,
this is nothing about what's actually
these
happened.
poor people that are getting
Well, this is what we're
sexually
doing now,
abused night after night by 10, 15 people. I mean, this is but then this is happening to children. It's not just happening to teenagers.
Do
It's
you know what
happening
they
to
actually
kids.
said? The sick.
How can
bastards,
we?
I'm sorry for swearing. Right? They said that a kid is worth more than a drug because a drug you can only sell once. A kid
We've
you
not
can
even
sell
spoke
100
about them
times
drinking
over.
kids'
do you know who
blood.
says that?
They
That's
drink kids'
disgusting.
blood.
This is what Maggie Oliver says. She said, Coke you'll use once, kids you can use many times. Kids are more important than
Is that what
guns.
they
Yes.
said?
Maggie Oliver said.
You can
my
sell a
days.
kid
Yeah.
over 100 times a day, yeah.
but-
you can only sell a drug once. A
Yeah,
kid's
yeah.
worth more than the drugs.
But
yes.
if you look at what they did to Maggie,
to
myself,
go to a
and
quick
so
bathroom
many others, right? No, we got a bit of a weak bladder situation. But I mean, listen, the only thing that separates us doing this now, I'm doing a thing fortnightly with Nikki, and that is doing really well. It'd be good if we could do this, but we can't because of geography. We can't because you're so many miles away from us.
Yeah.
But what we see is that you come down to London regularly. You are attendees at a lot of the do. You go to the Midlands with the Blair Brothers. I would say watch the Blair Brothers. Really, really study
Hear.
the case of Joey and Bobby Blair. Honestly, and they've been silenced to a degree, but what a couple of troopers.
And you know what, right? Like, what them two lads have been through, and they've turned to the alcohol, and there's nothing that they can do about that. That's their life. That's what's happened to them. It's the trauma. You drink to get rid of the trauma of what's happened to you. Now, there's a lot of people in that situation that's on drinking drugs to block all this out. And this is why we're having a big problem, because nobody will bring to the surface what's going on. Now, I've had children, I've actually witnessed in front of me, social services. Basically, I can't go too much into the
You've
situation.
got that typical 1980s school writing, you have. Did you used to do those
Sorry.
little eyes and the smiling and the O's? I bet you did.
Yeah, can't go too... oh, go on.
She never went to school in the 70s, this one. They wouldn't have had none of that. But,
Yeah.
so... But we're all coming from the same place. And again, our views have been consistent. They are so incredibly high. And it keeps coming up.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
This is what...
We're doing it for all
But-
you
but-
and
We
your
are.
children.
But
and-
there's one word here, community.
Yeah.
Community. We
It is,
have
and-
all had enough. And unfortunately, we've got Amanda just sitting on the gunnels there,
You can come in if you want.
She looks tired. She looks like she's had a long day.
Do you know what? I bet you literally are.
No, she said to me, she said, can we have a day where we can just go to the beach or something instead of coming
Well,
here?
because you were in Crosby today and
Yeah.
you were speaking to Billy, I just wanted to say a bit about Nazareth House. Now,
Go
in
for it.
Crosby, there is a place
Can you
called
explain
Nazareth House.
what Nazareth House is? Yeah.
It was a care home for children, and my ex-partner actually attended that care home throughout his life. And they've actually got homes up and down England, and I think they do
Someone
have them
said, hi, Amanda.
nationwide. So I just want to do this little readout here.
Right.
So,
Kim, Billy is okay. Billy's been in touch. He's got money in his pocket for the night. He's okay, Kim. All
and
right?
we're going to get in touch with him tomorrow and
so
see.
Yeah, we're going to get in touch with him tomorrow. He's only over the water, even if we have to go say take us for the spin.
Yeah, so this is just a little
Pay
thing.
his petrol first, though.
Yeah.
Sisters of Nazareth House, nuns held to account for decades of child abuse. A Catholic order has been accused of lacking compassion after complaining of a difficult year. They've complained of a difficult year
Bless them.
I know,
as they
bless 'em.
are finally held to account for decades of child abuse. The 2nd of April 2018 by Ben Burland. Scottish orphanages in Aberdeen, Glasgow, Edinburgh and Kilmarnock. The sisters' £80 million wealth is held by 3 charities.
So should we go back? 80 million quid. Right, I got given 100 quid today. I gave it to Billy. Right, they've got 80 million quid.
And we're living, yeah.
You know?
And they won't pay out compensation to none of the victims.
Yeah.
And he's held to 3 linked charities. So I wonder what those charities
And this is just
are.
one. This is one building.
With around 30 million in reserve funds.
So that's what, 80, 90, 100, 110 grand, 110 mil.
Oh, hang on, it gets better. And 43 million in property. And then 7 million cash in the bank.
And you know, someone said to me once, they said, the donkeys charity, right, because we don't use donkeys anymore, right, they've got so much money, they were caught out importing donkeys from Morocco to the UK so people could continue
Probably
funding.
to sleep with
Wow.
them now and then.
And the other one was Help for Heroes. The guy who set up Help for Heroes, and I'm not knocking the squaddy stuff, I'm not, but he was caught out employing all his family on executive wages to keep the money going up.
And then this, hang on, it then goes on to say last June, UK Regional Superior Sister Anna Manadoulan said the order had cared for 14,766 children in Scotland, in the UK, most of whom are dead. So 14,766
They're
children
claiming for
are
them.
dead.
Oh yeah, they will be. Noah said, I wonder how they were killed. You know,
And-
how are they all dead?
And received 404, only 404, because the rest are dead, don't forget.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
So
this-
nearly 15,000
this
kids
is-
are dead.
This is
in Scotland.
This is the Sisters of Nazareth. Now, Nazareth is the hometown of Jesus of Nazareth. Do you really think
Exactly.
Jesus would tolerate this?
this ain't Jesus,
Jesus
guys.
don't want
This is
this.
Baal.
Jesus does not want any of this.
So it says 404 civil actions and complaints. Pressed by inquiry chair Lady Smith Senior Counsel Colin McAuley QC at the preliminary hearing, she accepted retrospectively that children were abused. Well, 14,000 are fucking dead. Sorry. Yesterday, critics said the order showed absolutely no sympathy for those.
So
whose
let's go
lives
through
they
this.
had ruined.
Right. So we've got critics, right, have gone on to say that the no sympathy,
Not
no
one
sympathy.
bit of sympathy for
We know that.
14,000
We know
children
that.
that are
But
dead.
what we got to imagine, know how much your children mean to you. The children die and no one gives a flying
No
shite.
one cares.
Well,
Bam.
it is another one. Summary of clerical sex abuse scandals in Ireland. The Catholic Church has faced
Joan
several
Bobby.
inquiries over its response to its historical
I bet you
allegations.
girls are all Catholics. Were you brought up Catholics?
No,
No,
Protestant.
I'm not even
What,
christened.
and
me.
your Scousers?
Protestant.
That's unusual, isn't it?
I'm Protestant, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm a
I have
Catholic.
not
in
been
fact,
I was a
actually-
Catholic. I'm not no more.
Never been christened.
Well, that's another
Yeah.
big thing, you see, because
you
my
damn
dad
heathen.
My dad died.
My mum always said that she'd let me make my own choice when I'm older,
Yeah.
and I'm glad she did,
what
because
are you,
now
Je-
I'm realising about
what are you,
what's
a
going
Jedi?
on. I'm a Jedi. Bacon Jedi.
American Jedi.
Bacon Jedi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Bacon
Jedi, yeah.
It's bacon head. Born and bred bacon heads. What's that one? Oh, bacon head is wonderful. Oh, bacon head is wonderful. It's full of sluts, fannies and ravers.
What
is it? It's full of tits, fannies and ravers. Oh, my God, it is wonderful. That's our little song, by the way.
Going back to this, the Catholic Church has faced several inquiries to its response to its historic allegations. Brendan Smith, priest, arrested in 1994. The Ryans report, May 2000, by religious congregations who left children with horrific neglect, rape, sexual assault, children kicked, physically assaulted and forced to carry out labour, reported in 2009, included recommendations to help protect children. The Ferns report, published in October 2005, documented more than 100 allegations of child sex abuse made between 1962 and 2002 against 21 priests in the Diocese of the Ferns. The report, which addressed how allegations were handled and stated between 1960 and 1980, it appeared that Bishop Donald Harry treated child sex abuse by priests of his diocese exclusively as moral problems. Moral problems.
Well, we all knew that they were a problem, because with the problem child, where that they used to go in the mental institutions and they used to get drugged, like, you know, Sue Peak. Yeah. She's already put a story out. She was, amazing lady.
Absolutely amazing.
She was witness to children being raped. Then she's obviously gone and reported that, and she's been just straight taken to a mental institution for 3 years.
Yeah.
Nothing mental about it. Exactly a little bit like me.
She was being sexually abused. She reported it, and then they put her in a mental institution. And then, get this, they left her there for 3-4 years, and then went back to her and went, "Oh, the person has now been charged." You know, so
but they were never charged for anything they done to her.
So I'm just going to go back to this. The Murphy report investigated allegations of child sexual abuse by priests in the Archdiocese of Dublin over 1975 to 2004, released by Judge Yvonne Murphy. The report examined complaints about alleged sexual abuse of over 320 children. It stated that 4 archbishops, John Charles McQuaid, Dermot McRyan, Kevin McNamara and Desmond Connell, were serving during that period, handled complaints badly. And then the HIA of Abuse of Northern Ireland between 1922 and 1995. The largest number of complaints stem from 4 different Catholic-run institutions chaired by Sir Anthony Hart. It found that priests, lay people sexually abused children. Last year, Sir Anthony recommended compensation and a memorial and a public apology to abuse survivors.
But did they get it? No, Joe and Bobby are still waiting for compensation. Oh, no, yeah. Sorry, they forgot the compensation. They said, no, don't want it. I'll have immunity instead. But what's that done for them? I think that now they've got immunity, now they should completely run in with a lawsuit against them and claim compensation, because although everyone says, oh, is it about the money? Is it about the money? No, it's not about the money. Yeah. But that's the only thing that we can take off them that will hurt their pocket and that will teach them a goddamn lesson to never ever do this again to our children. So we have to either stop the tax or hammer them.
Right, so you've got
we've got this last little bit. Commission of investigation to mother and baby homes was set up following claims of a mass burials of hundreds of children at the Bon Sowers mother and baby home, Tuam, Co-Galloway.
Right. So it's County Galloway, the baby home in Tuam, right? And they had a mass grave of hundreds of... So let's try and envisage it.
Then we've got 14,000
children
in
are
Scotland.
naturally resilient. They're naturally resilient, you know, to all sorts of things, because, you know...
Weak and defenceless.
They are... But they found graves with hundreds of children.
A Pope apologised.
And when these children's bodies
apologised.
When these children's bodies are coming up, though, they're being like the bones are knifed, like cut and stuff like that, like they've been in a ritual.
Right.
And they're finding cuts in the bones.
Is that what they found?
Yeah,
I'm seeing
bones and everything.
A lot of people are reporting that they have like these tanks where it like dissolves the bones, and then like pig farms, because don't pigs eat
septic tank? I think they're called.
Yeah.
And then it says that from this mother and baby home, the Pope gave an apology. March 2010, Pope Benedict XV1 wrote a pastoral letter of apology for all the abuse that had been carried out at the Catholic clergy in Ireland.
Did you get a letter, Joan, Bobby?
That is an admission of guilt.
Yeah, exactly. And then in August 2018, Pope Francis apologised. No effort will be spared to prevent an abuse in its cover.
So this is damn well hard evidence that they knew.
And believe you me, that Vatican, all what they do is as soon as somebody reports abuse, they move to another town or they move round, and it's a whole cycle of boo, 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 boo. So nobody knows where anybody is, and this abuse is just left to continue and continue.
And can I just say something, going back to like what I was talking about before, like when they take your daughter for like a forced adoption, they say to you that you can only find out where your kids are when they reach the age of 18, and that's only if they want to find you. Now, what I know about these children going missing and potentially murdered and sexually abused. What happens if my kid is one of them kids in the farm in Surrey that's buried in the ground? Is my kid coming back? And then what are they going to say to me? Exactly. My kid ain't coming back to find me. Yeah, so that means that I have to go out on the hunt for them, but they can stop me because I haven't got a right to go and find my kid, even at 18 years old. This is how these scumbags get away with it.
But see, what we've got to do, Ange, we've been given gifts. There are gifts here. When you investigate, never look at what you haven't got. Look at what you have got. We've been given gifts.
We've got loads. Right. We've got evidence they haven't even looked at.
But look at our gifts. Number one gifts, the Rains list. Yeah. Superb. And secondly, oh bless you. Secondly, you look at Jeanette's testimony. Well, does that not dovetail in with the Rains list? Jeanette's testimony does it 100%. And I think if we look at what happened in that farm in Surrey, and
the way that the Crown owns it, and it's tied into it, and I've been looking into that, and guess who takes the money? 75% to the Treasury and 25% to the Crown. So the Crown goddamn well know, and the government goddamn well know what's going on, because they get annual reports every year off that farm. I've been looking at, where are the annual reports? Do you know where the annual reports are, John?
How would I know?
This is the thing that we need to ask him. Where's your annual report for that farm? Let's see how that farm was ticking over. If you've made more money than what you sold milk, then obviously the money's coming. Follow the money, what Donald Trump said. Follow the money.
I looked into Nazareth House when it first started in the early 1900s.
You'll have to come and talk about it.
Nazareth House in the 1800s.
They won't hear you back there, so when you come back, it's all right. Tinky Fingers, their old scarf boys, okay.
Well, canny for miles like mine.
Well, it does. That's what got her arrested, you know.
Well, I think you'll find, John, that's the police that got arrested because the scumbags, and they don't even take a crime.
But just to explain, Ange, that I got walked out with no charges.
Oh yeah, she actually got walked out with no charges because she didn't commit a crime. Common law of the land. Well, basically, can I just put this in? Sorry, John, sorry, just for all the people out there, right? So we got taught about the common law. So basically, when you get arrested by the police and they say, we're arresting you under suspicion of blah, 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 you do not have to say anything unless you wish to do so. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand? What you should say is, no, I don't understand. I don't understand your law. I said, because it's not law. I'm under common law of the land. I've committed no loss, no harm, no injury, no fraud. Therefore, there's no crime.
I think what you've got to look at, Ange, is this the thing, you know, if you get a credit card and they have it on the TV, terms and conditions apply, your home is at risk, blah, 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 and they rattle through it. And when you look at a contract, when it comes to the financial
side... And that's
side,
what it is, it's a contract.
It's always in tiny little writing, and you sign there. No one reads it. There's a brilliant sketch. There's a comedy show called Limmy's Show, and it's about, he gets to sign a contract because he wants to download a music video. And there's got these pages and pages of legal stuff, and he actually gets a solicitor involved in it. And it's really, really funny how it, you know, come on in.
Got the lighter.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, you've got it.
Oh, I got it right behind me.
You know, but the thing is, when I used to interview people, I was a specialist interviewer, and I was very good at it, and I was used on an international level for it.
Is this on YouTube? Sorry.
And it will go on YouTube. We would really, really hammer the caution, and we would say slowly, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. But it may harm your defence, right?
I know now. I know now.
Your case is your defence. If you do not mention when questioned, I'm questioning you now. If you don't answer now, later on, and blah, 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 and you really would labour it, and then it has a worth in court, because it's all about a contract.
This is what I'm saying, and that contract, when you say, do you understand? You're not signing the contract.
Anyway, Tinky was on a tag.
Yeah, so I was put on...
How shameful.
Well, when I come out the courts in 2018...
I have as well.
And I knew that...
You were in a tag.
Twice.
I feel left out.
It weren't my fault though, John. This is how this has all come about.
Amanda, have you had a tag yet?
You'll hear about that when I've... mine was set up by the police, yeah? Mine was a set up.
Can I have your light?
But we will go into that when I do my story. I have been set up.
That's what we'll do. But go on, you were saying.
But I'll just say about my tag. So I come out of court, the family courts in 2018. They'd pissed me off, sorry for swearing. They'd annoyed me that much that I watched the suffragettes and I thought... you. Yeah, they'd affect me, yeah. So I thought, oh, right, number one, I thought, I need them to look at me. Number two, I want them to laugh at me. So I thought, how can I grab their attention? So I just got up one morning and I thought, right, a black pair of shorts, black T-shirt, I put a bright pink bra on over the top. I put a bright pink thong on underneath. Went to the family courts, got there for 9 o'clock in the morning with me megaphone. As they were all walking in the doors... Your
amplified protest.
I went, you walk through them doors, they'll rape you. They will rape you, because that's what they've done to me. Because it is.
It doesn't matter if they don't physically touch you, or, you know, if it does actually feel like what they've done is they've raped us without a willy.
We are talking...
Literally without a willy.
And we are talking with two women that have lost their children through no fault of their own. Now, for me, and I want to say for me to say, because I brought up kids on their own because their mum was dysfunctional, and it was hard work for me, you know, and I brought them up. And all that, so it's a bit stacked against you as a man. But however, the more I go into this, and I thought I would never, ever stand up for women that lost their kids, but the more I got into it, I realised women have been really screwed over.
We have been targeted by social services.
They have.
And the family court and the police.
Because I went outside the family courts and I did that, and then...
Well, sorry,
because, like I was saying before, my mum... Oh, it's all right, because my mum had said, like, you know, you tell the truth and you shame the devil. Well, I knew they were trying to make
Your mum must have been a Catholic then?
No. She wasn't actually.
Oh, really?
She was a single mum on her own, so she had to be firm, I suppose, and that was her thing.
Yeah, we both had really quite good upbringings. We were brought up the right way with morals and respect and dignity and passion and love and care. We had all that as a child, and our children are not getting that in the care system. They're not getting the love.
They'll never get that.
This is what I'm saying. It's not exactly. They're not parents.
It's all about the reddies. It's all about the cash.
This is what we need to do to them. We need to take the parental control off them.
He's a lovely guy. Can we give him a shout? Martin Harrison.
Martin
Harrison.
He's been mate on Facebook.
He's a lovely guy.
Obviously, I'm not on Facey, am I?
And Martin Harrison, he says to me, you can refer to me as your gay friend, Martin. And Martin, he does my...
Well, I'm none of that on this platform.
And Martin had a little bit of a moan because Amanda didn't cut my hair properly, so Martin sent some
Are you
clippers.
a hairdresser?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he said, roots to
and Martin said, can you get Amanda to cut your hair, please, John? And
the last hairdresser burnt me.
Martin got fed up on my trainers being dirty and bought me some trainers. But Martin went through the care system as well, and he's a good. I love Martin. Martin, you're.
Do you know what? I love them all because you know I respect them so much for standing up.
But do you know what? Because of how dyspraxic and how overarching. Sorry, we've been drinking. Overarching this is, and when I say anything that might upset minorities or whatever, I say, Martin, have I upset the gay community? And I always filter through Martin. I say, Martin, I don't want to upset anyone.
Well,
I don't want to upset.
We're actually
I don't want to upset
there for the gay
religion.
Community.
We don't want to upset anyone.
There's people that
we want everybody to join together. Gay, black, white,
exactly.
straight, coloured,
100%.
pink, yellow. I don't even know what colour we get.
And we'll even have the gingers in.
Yeah, we'll have the gingers as well.
Oh, I'm Ginger Train. My mum's husband's Ginger.
Really? Oh, well, okay.
Sorry for
No, we need everyone in this fight to tackle what we need to tackle.
We are not a diverse bunch. We're a bunch. We don't like children getting hurt.
No.
And that is our focus.
Yeah.
So anyone that brings any of this agenda in that with this, we're not against Jews. We're not against Muslims. We're not against Catholics. We're not against anyone. We
it's
are
a spiritual
not.
war, and
the
it is
only
good
people
against
that I am
evil.
against right now
divide,
is the people
not
that are
us.
asleep.
It's
You
a
need to wake up
spiritual
fast.
And you know, everyone's got to think that they're all being indoctrinated to whatever. It doesn't matter whether it's Islam,
TV,
whether it's Judaism, whether
radio.
it's Christianism, you know.
But
God is there, God is...
We even let Alan Merritt in our group, you know. That's
Our big bad Al.
he's just for a thing, you know. And,
Love, yeah.
Yeah, and we must, and I always give credit.
Oh, he's flying right now. He's done so well.
Alan
come on.
is amazing.
Alan is taking over. He is.
He is 12 weeks and he's come on leaps and bounds like I've never saw anyone.
Coordinator, Alan.
Do you know what? He is so good because Alan, I know for a fact, like if I just rang him and said, right, I need to compose this, we could communicate together, get it done. And because I've got post-traumatic stress from what I've got, and my what's my thing? What would you say, Anne? I've got a block.
It's a PSTD or something. That's what the normal.
I've got a block on writing things out, so I find it difficult. As soon as I could write a letter for you or for Ange, but as soon as it comes to my trauma, I go. I'll go and do something else. Yeah. I'll go and do something else.
I get exactly where you're coming from.
Traumatising.
To go back into your records.
This
This is why I'm saying to you, John, I'm not willing to go back into that unless I've got the proper people at my side to do that. Because
no. Well, you've done it once,
too much to
and
go
it takes
into
it
you
out
and
of
live
you.
and everything.
It's so draining.
Horrific.
So draining.
I spent 4
When you're
years in a family
and you
court.
have been abused.
And I stood there. I
It's
nearly lost my kids to the family court. And when you get a barrister pay 450 quid an hour, then speaking out about you, and they name my children, and it hurt me. I thought, how dare you name my children? What if it was your children,
Do you know
miss?
what I had a judge say to me? She said that I had to agree that I was, now this is bad enough if it had happened.
Tinky, how horrible is that when a woman judge, because I had a woman judge, I had a man judge, was lovely. I'll come back to something.
A few that have been...
They've been lovely, but when you get women judge, there's spite in them.
Well, do you know what, John?
To me, can I just...
Yeah, go on, you finish what you said.
What it was, this judge, she said to me, I had to agree that I was passed around at the age of 13 for men to have sex with me at the back of my local market.
Was that the truth?
No, that's never happened.
Right, no.
Ever. In its life. Ever. You can ask all my school friends, they'll all fucking...
So how did this come about? Why was this mentioned?
My ex-partner wrote in a statement something about me when I was 13, but it wasn't anything like that. What she just came up with a scenario in her own head. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So she's just made a whole thing up when the only person that abused me was the man sat in that room at the age of 15 when I lost a child and everything else in that had happened to me.
And how was he? How old was he? Sorry.
He was 25 at the time. So I was 15.
I mean, seriously, what is a 25-year-old guy doing with a 15? I mean,
exactly.
Look at a 15. What a 15-year-old.
Pedo hunters now bust doors.
But Angie, go back to when you was 15-year-old. 15-year-old, what they do? They sit down, watch stupid videos, and do silly dances. That they are so
do you know
kiddie,
what the time
aren't they?
was? My sister had been out with his brother, but I didn't know him at the time. And then his brother had died in bed with my sister, and she just had a baby at 6 weeks. So me being a 15-year-old kid, I was babysitting New Year's Eve. The woman who was babysitting for had a party and brought these people back. So he came back. So it was my sister's partner who had died, and then his brother came in. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
So because his family had blamed my sister why the brother had died, well, the brother had been taking drugs for years, and then his heart gave in because he took a concoction. But my sister had only just had a baby. He was only 6 weeks old, and the family was blaming my sister for his death, but it wasn't her fault. He'd already been doing it for years, so that was why that happened.
Can you put a bit of that in there for us?
So I was a kid trying to restore a relationship, but then ended up getting groomed by somebody.
Only a little bit. You have a bit.
It's all right, I'll top myself.
We got a community going there. We got the.
Does
elder.
that make sense to you? So
Yeah.
as a kid, I got.
But you were a kid. I mean, 15-year-olds are stupid. They're just young. They're just.
Yeah, but I was like a bit of a tomboy though. What I'm trying to say is I was a bit of a tomboy sticking up for my sisters. Does that make sense? And then I got dragged into.
Did you watch the testimony that young Rachel did? The girl that was
so. Yeah.
You know, she said
she's so on your she's so on your wavelength. Little bit. I think I've sent you the video.
I've never watched it.
Yeah, the Portuguese girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
and it was done in front, and she was kept hostage basically from 13 to 18.
I had to tag you the video, said watch that.
You know, in London with a community all around her.
I actually was at my ex-partner's from February 1994, which was when I was 15.
Okay,
Up until...
well, Tinky, what would you say to a 15-year-old girl that was in the place you was at?
Oh, I'd say get out of it, speak to somebody, you know. Do not, be indoctrinated.
And what is a grown man doing, paying an interest like that?
Exactly, it's paedophile. You know, I'm not saying he's a paedophile because
he'd never do that to the children, or you know, he'd never do that to your kids. I find it
difficult to say because the law's the law at the end of the day. So if you can't have sex until you're 16, then he's actually broken the law, hasn't he? By even engaging in a relationship with a 15-year-old child, do you know what I mean?
But these are.
And he should have said is, do you know what? You're a kid.
But this is what.
That's what he should go away, sort of thing.
Well,
you know, you're a kid.
Billy Maloney and myself had this story because we was talking about the numbers of military bases that kept cropping up. I said, what are these men doing with these young girls? He said,
exactly.
Because it's inadequate. They're
taking them in on the military bases.
But it's inadequate. What is a grown man doing with a young kid? They don't need to be with them.
No.
You know, and what Bill says, that there are men that cannot please a woman. So they pick on the kids because they're inadequate. There's something broken in them.
But I think mine was not just. Mine wasn't. I don't think just about. Mine was about control. It was about controlling me and having me as an object, and that's a big thing as well. Yeah. It wasn't just about the sex. It's about controlling a person.
But something's just pinged in my head, right? And we're looking at these kids going to care now. There's some that are so.
Trumped. Sorry, I think they're trumped.
That's you, isn't it?
And then John looked before he went, I went to kids.
But when we watched
you want to see the dog here? Sorry, guys.
Oh, we got this Sparko like that in front of him. But when we look at the video, like with Billy today, Scouse Billy as I call him, and look at Billy Maloney, you know, he said no one would have taken me as a kid because I was mad. I was a nutter. They couldn't because of what I went through. There's no way anyone could. And same as young Billy said today, he said, you know, I was at the raw end of it.
Haven't they labelled too many people bad and mental though?
But what they do is they pick on the young, pretty, well-behaved kids, and they prey on them because social workers should never, in my opinion, be allowed to foster. Never.
100%.
Never.
Guess how many children my kid's social worker has fostered? Never. You wouldn't even believe it.
And they are doubling their wage plus respite money to look after. They have got the pick of the crop. They can go through and pick out all these little pretty kids and all the well-behaved kids, and they're the ones. Now, if they can make money out of it, I'm not saying the social workers are it, but there are those that do. Right, they don't want to pick the crazy kids.
We don't know what goes behind closed doors right now. We don't.
How can you
and until somebody investigates
a social worker
we won't.
That has not even had children, even have a
raise
rapport
a child
with anybody. Do you know when you get in, right?
It's crazy.
I can't even. Can I say this? Can I name names with social services?
Well, just name a first name. Just don't get yourself in no grief.
I might just name mine then.
Last thing you want to do is you get in trouble,
right.
You know.
So this is only this year, yeah. They put some, well, should I say, child on my case, yeah, called Shell, yeah, Shell. I was in the court with her. She tried to ream off what was going on in my case, yeah. She didn't have a clue. Do you know what I mean? And put it one way, Shell was gone within 10 minutes. Do you get me?
I've had social workers hide in bushes when I come in the car park because they know I'm coming, yeah. I literally have had people, social workers, hiding in a bush.
But when I've had social services confirm that my ex-partner's abused me, is abusing my children, they're offering me money because they've messed up the whole entire case, and then they tell me to take it to the family courts, and then nobody in the family courts addresses it.
I mean, this is what we're looking. I mean, the key element here is the family courts. The family courts all the time.
Family courts aren't doing the jobs properly. They're not doing the jobs. They are basically. Well, let's get back to this grooming scandal. Well, anyway, there's a hidden Willowborough grooming scandal. Now, when I've gone through all the paper articles and I've read every single paper article, it turns out that before the grooming gang was arrested and given, 2 brothers were given 17 years each. Bear in mind, half the other gang has gone. Oh, this is in my town, in Birkenhead, in Wirral, and it's to do with Willowborough Council. They're hiding the scandal, yeah. Sorry, I can't remember.
Jump to find it.
No, it's all right. Anyway, going through all the Liverpool Echo and the Wirral Globe and all the newspapers, it turns out that before the paedophile was arrested, social services had already passed them around the child. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Before they were arrested and charged, social services had already passed the paedophile around the child, saying it was the greatest rock and very good support to her and this, that, the other. And the paedophile was allowed, but then he got found out that he weren't just doing it to her, he was doing it to loads of kids in Birkenhead.
But they always do. They always do.
Sorry.
They always do.
What's that?
Don't read it out.
Well, it looks like
I can't see it, my glasses.
Tinky has been keeping good records on everything.
Right, honestly, I have recorded these people the whole way along, and today, where John was interviewing Billy was actually where social services admitted the failings to everything that they'd done to my case, and then told me to take it to the family courts. But when they told me to take it to the family courts, that was around the time when legal aid had stopped for everybody. I was one of the last people in 2013 to receive legal aid from the government.
Funny how our cases started in 2013, the legal aid got took away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we got to keep on the focus here is that we've all been through the mill, but we want to stop this from happening to others. How many suicides have occurred?
Can I just say,
I know loads of suicides that people have just killed themselves around me because they're fighting a losing battle. They're missing the children. That frustration, hurt, and then the pain it then gets to them. They can't cope. They're on the drugs. They're on this. They're on that. They commit suicide. Half of them find themselves in mental institutions. Some of them are on the streets taking heroin, cocaine. It goes on and on, like the destruction that this government and social services and the police and the family courts are creating for not only the children but the parents and the victims.
That's brutal. That is brutal.
And then everybody else in the world. We haven't got to open out.
I've got psychologists writing to the family courts who will stand in the family court and say that what they've done to me is cruel and inhumane.
And what
they've done is ignored it. They've ignored a psychologist.
They have ripped my daughter out of my belly for forced adoption. They've took my daughter from the hospital, vultures, satanic abusers, and then they've abused my eldest kid for 7 years. Merseyside police have got every single allegation.
It's got a lid on.
Right. It's like a little hand cream tub.
Yeah, that's it.
No, to your right slightly, Amanda. To your right.
Oh yeah, if you got one.
It's right. It's Amanda's on the roll-up face, but no, that's got a number on it. There's a little pink tub there, Amanda. Look, little pink tub.
Sorry, we're just making a roll.
Yeah. So this is what happened. But
I've got one here. This is like I've got what is it? An advocate. I had an advocate.
Affidavit.
An advocate. She was
an advocate is a barrister,
She was coercing with both sides, if you like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the judge, this district judge Scully, who said I had to say that I was
a DJ.
Yeah, DJ.
DJ Jimmy Savile.
A DJ Lee J.
Right, a Jimmy Savile.
But Scully's a proper scouse name.
Scully. I never really
Procurer of children.
There was a series back in the 80s called Scully. It was about Scouser.
Yeah. Oh, I used to watch that.
Do you know what? Funny enough, I've had about 100 judges in that court. Because like first of all,
had
this
to
very first judge said to me, I'm going to turn your case over with a fine-tooth comb. And he said,
yes, please,
yeah, please. And then she
do so.
So anyway, when I was like basically having a C-section, I was in court the next day after a C-section. I discharged myself out of hospital and pulled myself to the court. Now, if I weren't in court that day, I would not have heard the judge's words. Now, the judge turned around and said, why does it say here that my daughter was was discharged under police pressure? Under police pressure? Did you know that, John?
They took her baby. They took my friend's baby from her womb. You know, I mean, I've not. Can I just
they
say,
were vultures.
None of my children were taken from babies. From
how many kids you got?
4.
4.
To the same person.
Right.
To the abuser.
Did he get all of them, or?
No. What it was when I left him, the older 2 kids were on the thing of, you know, where you've got the 50-50 rights, and then they brought in the new law, didn't they, in 2005. Well, I think someone he knows who works in law, not in law, but in social services, in that kind of loop. And he knew that if he kept the children in 2005, because of this new law where it gives you 50-50 rights, does that make sense? So when I left him, because I had to move to another town because I sold my house, the 2 children, I keep thinking you're passing me something. I'm like, give it me.
I'm like...
So the 2 children wanted to stay at the same high school, and that's why they ended up with that. And that's how we ended up keeping the younger 2, if that makes sense, because it was a case of he took them back but wouldn't return.
Yeah, so it's a basically simple, 10-minute situation, could have been sorted out. No need for 7 years outside the family court in knickers and bra to raise attention to what's going on.
Had you had intervention with the social services before?
No, never. Nothing in my life. I had my son when I was... Right, so get this. So I was pregnant at 15. I lost my child at 15, yeah? Then I got pregnant at 16, had my child at 17. Then I got pregnant at 18, had my child at 19. I'd one at 25, then 30. Nothing ever until I left him.
I mean, I weren't a perfect mum, but I was a good mum. Do you know what I mean? I weren't a perfect mum. That's what I mean. No one's perfect.
I mean, I've been a terrible parent at times.
I've never ever done anything to my child. The only thing I've done is love, support, and nurture my babies. Well, I didn't get a chance to be second one.
I think, and what we got to do is, right, we've all been...
I've never done anything, because if I had, I'd have a criminal record for it.
Luckily, I know where my daughter is right now, and because I know that reason... That's the reason why I'm so calm. But if I didn't know where my daughter was, I would actually think right now that she's dead and buried in a farm in Surrey. That's what I think right now.
We have had that peacefulness that we actually do know where our children are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
How many times?
My children are 10 minutes away, 10 minutes away. And my son, who had not seen for what, 4.5 years, came and found me last August. He was here yesterday, love. Yeah. He just comes when he wants.
And that makes me
feel amazing.
Good.
Amazing.
But you see, we've all been hurt by these family courts and that, but we're all here now. Yeah. And our reason for being is that this stops.
To prevent abuse of children.
But
that's the thing. How are we going to stop these judges and family courts and police officers and Parliament? And
do you know what we got to do though? What we got to do?
Jamie Bulger, Denise Venable. She's never had justice for poor little Jamie, and I'm sorry.
I think them too.
I think they were mind controlled.
But one actually turned the corner and said it was wrong. The other one never did.
Yes.
But what we got to do, we got to always admit our failings, because there are failings. We're not perfect. None of us are perfect.
I'm not perfect.
Right.
I'm not saying I am.
But what we got to do,
but I am a good person. But you know what? I'm not far off.
But we got to stop.
Perfect now.
But we got to stop these predators. Now I'm going to say something now, very controversial, right? Had I met the right person, all I ever want to do is be married and stay with my children.
Do you know what?
All I ever wanted. That's all I ever wanted.
Can I just say this?
And I would say to people, stay with your children. And I say this to men, don't run off and leave your children.
Even though
Don't
I
run
was
off and leave
with
your
the kid's
children.
dad,
Yeah.
I was
Don't
with
do
him
it.
for 19 years, and do you know what? I would never ever take that away, because being with that one person, not that it, unfortunately, is a controller. He is a controller, and that's the top and bottom of it.
But we've all been fallen prey to this. It happens, right?
Yeah.
But what we're saying to the others, if you don't love the person, don't have a kid with them. Don't put a kid through this, because it ain't you that suffers. It's a kid that suffers. We can't have the kids. This is what we do now. This is us bleating about our problems. We're not bleating about our problems. We're not. What we're doing is we are here to stop this happening to you,
because I
to
don't
your
want
kids.
anyone.
We don't want no one going
I don't
through
want
this.
no one raped. At 15. I don't want anyone raped under that age ever. I mean, I can't even,
we don't want
go there to be on that level. But
listen, can we?
Bad enough at 15.
Can we be in unison here and say we want functionality, not dysfunctionality?
Yeah.
You know, and we say to girls, pick a guy who's going to look after you. Guys, don't leave your children.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Please.
Please don't do it, because it causes harm, and the ones who suffer ain't you.
Do you know what though? It is the government's fault the way they've put the telly and they've put the Britney Spears in a school uniform at 14 years old.
Do you know, to a degree, Ange, but we still have a choice.
Yeah, we do. We have a choice, and everybody knows the law and knows that it's wrong to sleep with a child, and it's against the law after 16.
We can't keep blaming the government. We have a choice.
We can actually blame the government, because it's them that put the legislation in place.
I know, but what we're doing now is we're taking responsibility. We're saying, no, this ain't happening. It ain't happening. And if we can, we will stop it. We will stop it. But, you know, listen.
When the governments are taking the profit as well, 75%, and they're giving 25% to the Queen, oh, damn well they're involved, and everyone knows they're involved. Why do they think that we're thick? Is that what they've always thought of us? Oh, you're too thick, and you'll never ever wake up to us, because that's what they're for. But we're actually very more cleverer than them.
You termed that wrong. You said, do you think we is thick?
We're thick. We're thick.
But
that's what I mean. It's a message to the British government as well at this time. Do you actually think we are thick?
Like, we
are far from thick.
Like, me and Ange, listen to this. We went to Scotland Yard, yeah. We've been
with no voices.
We went with no voices. I said, no, we're going to Scotland Yard, and do you know what? It's the best video what was removed off Facebook ever in the world, because we were there with our suitcase, no voices. We went to Scotland Yard to report Theresa May. I mean, how has this ever happened? Just think about this for a second, guys.
2 Scouse mamas.
Yeah, 10,000 children. 10,000. 10,000. Not 10. 10,000 children sold to sex offenders through our care system. How has that happened?
And Theresa May
how has that happened? And then we go to Scotland Yard to report it. And then they go, we don't take crimes here.
I was like, hey, listen, you here. I'm fucking telling you right now. And started going off at them, didn't I? Like, get out of here now, get out of here, and take this.
Yeah. And what
with
did
no
we get?
voice.
We had to go to, apparently, Channing Cross Station. Channing Cross.
Cross.
And then when we pressed the buzzer, he went, oh, hello. And I went, oh, hello, are you Scotland Yard? And he went, oh, yes. And then we started telling him about Theresa May, and he's going, well, you got to report it to Channing Cross. I said, well, what's fucking Scotland Yard then? You know about it. That's what you said.
Actually
you know
is
about
Scotland
it.
Yard? What is Scotland Yard, John? What is it?
It's just like the Met Office. Like the Met Office. You know, when we went
headquarters,
to Liverpool.
but all the central squads, all the central CID units are based there. So it's a hub, you know, of it.
So what do they actually do?
Nothing.
Do they actually work?
They know all about the child abuse and guns.
I'm being serious.
I know there's an administration centre, but they're
Clarissa fucking Dick.
Oh.
I mean, who gave her that name, Clarissa Dick?
I mean, it's
good name, innit?
I mean, I bet the Satanists all come together and went, well, Crawley, Clarissa Dick,
but
Clarissa Dickhead.
But it's a paradox, isn't it? They've given that woman the name Dick. I mean,
Clarissa Dick.
I'll tell you
Have
something.
you seen her? She looks like a little witch, a little scrawny. She comes up and she goes,
Probably a Satanist. But to eat children.
When I went there for a meeting with her, it's meant to be me and her, and I took my little buddy with me.
Really?
I took
her?
Yeah, we had
Clarissa Dick.
We had. I've had a couple of meetings with her, but we had our meeting with her.
What
It was meant to be me and her, right? And her admin staff and my mate. We went in there and she sat round and there's a table of 9 women round there and they're all
9
of them,
women!
and,
It sounds like Jesus.
Do you know what? These women are just horrific.
Yeah, but not one man, right? And we sat round there and I couldn't believe it. And they're all, bar one, they're all of the same ilk. And I'm not casting any aspersions on anyone, that people are what they are. Anyway, I started telling what I went through. And I said,
Theresa May, yes, is a Rothschild.
I said, I can take
her husband.
I can...
Owns Serco. G4S. And Serco.
But I said to her, I can take a child out of the care system. I can rape that child. I can have sex with that child. I can have my mate have sex with that child. And I said,
and your 10 mates.
Yeah. And I said, and then we can rent that kid out. And we can get that child to have others to rape. But
well,
horrible.
They work with social services. That's where the children are coming from.
Ange, I said, if I leant over my fence and called my neighbour and it was a derogatory racist term, but only in the context of the argument I was putting across, right?
Exactly, because you
would have me arrested. I said, but you have not employed one copper to deal with child abuse, not one to deal with the child abuse.
Where's the children's
I
police?
noticed that.
Where is the children's police?
I noticed that, John. In Merseyside Police, we've actually got an LGBT police force, yet we've got no children's police.
Well, the other thing is, I said that to them. I said they got the LGBT, which accounts for 0.001% of all allegations. And they've got a team. You've not employed one person to deal with child prostitution.
Exactly.
You know, how is this right? And I tell you what, it all went quiet. I said, what gets me wrong? I've been going on about people fucking children, and I don't want to swear, fucking children. And I said, not one of you even blinked. But the moment I said a derogatory racist comment, someone took a sharp intake of breath. How's that right? And there was a black lady there. She stood up, she punched her chest, she goes, right on my brother, and give me a big hug. You know, and that's that. You know, and it's all wrong. But listen, we've been going on for a while now. I think this should be an ongoing thing.
Yeah,
because we have consistently been on 300 hits for well over an hour, maybe an hour. I don't know. It's gone.
Wait till we get to the story, guys, because we haven't even touched ground. I've not touched ground on literally not even the surface of what I've gone through.
What we're showing here, ladies, is that we are a unified national force. Alan Merritt is our national coordinator.
Number one fan.
You've just been self-appointed, Alan. Here, you know, I get this. Right, there is going to be more of this. We're building in force. We're building everything. And
we are.
I think. Right. Final comments. We'll go through final comments, Ange.
I just want to get to the bottom of, like, I've had that many children's coming to me with allegations, like, with the most horrific stories, like the sleeping with knives and baseball bats and everything under the bed. They're mentioning Freemasons. I'm getting kids with social workers trying to, I can't go too much into it, but they've been sat there and they've said that they've been raped in the care system. Now, the social workers are sat there telling them not to report the abuse to the police because it might, you know, they have to go to court, they have to go through all this process. So I've jumped in and said, who the fuck do you think you're fucking talking to, for one? Don't talk to a child like that. Who are you trying to stop? A child reporting a crime. Oh, it's all right, we'll just take him to Mackey's. That's what I got off. And I've witnessed that, 2 social workers turning a child right the way round to not putting in the allegation, the crime into the police. But now, how many children is this going on to? I've had loads of children coming to me from my area. I've had parents that I've been fighting with at the same, like, they've been taking their children at the same time, yeah. So, like, once them parents sign that paperwork, and I've been like, don't sign the papers, don't sign anything, do not put your signature to nothing, because once they've got that signature, that gives them the authority to move them anywhere in the country. And this is where the children are being raped and murdered and buried under the ground. And it's the forced adoption ones, and half of these mothers I know are either in a mental institution because they've kicked off about their kids because they know what's going on, or they're dead because they've either committed suicide or the big guns have came after them because they've opened their mouth too much and they're going to get, you know, shot basically. And they have been shot or given a needle or an injection or, you know, who actually looks into the deaths in this country? How many deaths have we actually had? Because we need to start going into the NHS. Like, they have got all the, when people are being internally sewn, like the victim before, when they're being internally sewn up, they've got the records.
STDs are a classified information. STDs
I
classified.
always cover this. I said, where are the matrons that had to sew up these injuries?
Exactly.
If a grown man puts his penis in right, so not taking girls, we'll go do girls.
Let's do the boys, because this is what it is.
Can you imagine how big?
Buggering.
Can you imagine
putting a penis up his vagina?
How big a 6-year-old boy's anus is and a grown man's penis?
Joe Bobby Blair.
Right, and the injuries, and then we go on to the girls. And boys, we were speaking the other day about someone was saying that their whole spine has been misaligned because the penis is ramming out the back.
Exactly.
And they
the
shit
damage.
And they shit themselves because the sphincter muscles ripped. And all. But then the girls with the misaligned wombs, they can't have children and all that. So that's a good point.
It's a very good point.
So that's. But we'll move on to you, Tank. What is your passing point here?
Me, it's just, children should just not be abused at any level. A baby, a toddler, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 11-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old should not be being abused, but it is happening.
Exactly.
And that's the worst thing, that, like, babies, come on.
Babies, newborn babies.
And then move on. What I say to people is, speak out. Speak out.
Keep the anger in
Speak out. I'll give you the platform. Come to me.
Yeah,
You can get in touch
John,
with the girls.
You can speak to us, anyone.
You can speak to us.
I'm
Come on
under
our show.
Angel Sarmy on Facebook, but it's like Angels and then Army, but it's like Sarmy because
so
I've had to change my name that many times because Facebook's banned me. Angel Sarmy.
So we got Angels Army, all one word.
Tinkerbell
Angel
on
Sarmy.
VK.
Yeah, so it's like Angel and then Sarmy, but it's meant to be Angels Army.
So we got Tinkerbell, Tinky Jojo.
VK.
It was Tinky Jojo Bell. I know you under, don't we?
Yeah,
she's so well known. Because you've been about so long in the way.
And we've just done an American one. It's going out to the American, our little stories with the Illuminati expedition.
And also, Big Bad Alan Merritt has really got a hold on this.
Oh, he's amazing.
He's really got a hold on this.
Oh, no.
Listen, we've got to call this a close now.
Yeah.
This has been unbelievable, unprecedented. We were running at 300 hits consistently for maybe 2 hours, maybe more, I don't know. Amanda's getting involved now.
She's like,
listen, we're
she's
here.
fed up,
Get in touch with us, and we are national. We are national.
We're here to help everyone, guys. We're with everyone. We're behind everyone, and we're with you out there.
When
and
I
just
tell
come
what
forward.
I've got to tell, and she's got to tell what she's
when
got
we
to tell.
do our
We
actual
haven't
stories,
told everything
and we'll
at
go
all.
through individually now. And we'll do that. But God bless everyone.
Yeah.
We love you.
Good night.
God bless you.
Good night.
Do nothing stupid. Jesus loves you, and he does. The devil does this, not God.
The devil
and we're out
is
for
a
it.
lie.
We are God.
And
We are the
devil's
12
biggest
disciples.
We are God. We are God.
convincing
We
that
are
God
God.
isn't real. Do you know
God
that?
is in us.
Yeah, this
We
is
are
bullshit.
we are the disciples.
We are God.
We are the disciples.
And all of you that want this to change, you're doing Jesus' way. This ain't about religion. Sod the religion.
We're doing the groundwork.
God,
anyone
Jesus.
who touches a kid,
You're a nonce. You're a fucking nonce.
Peter.
You're a nonce.
God bless all of you.
Sorry, could I just say him?
Go on. Always are.
Hey,
sorry,
no, I'll have my say. No, I'm joking.
And can you hurry up, man?
Oh no! Do you know what? I was going to say something then, and it's complete gone.
Right, we'll sod
Are you
it then.
sure that's gone?
Anyway, good night, everyone.